Slide job clean, don't door me, son. Everybody wants that #1. Spotter calling outside, clear. One bad move and you're done right here. Farm town kids and the city boys too. Everybody's got something they gotta prove. Late night practice, 100 laps deep. Sacrifice today so tomorrow we eat. Pour down, let the tires sing. Every caution changes everything. One more restart, one more chance. That's where champions make their stand. We're wide open, never lifting off the gas. Wide open, Laps Cup Series, racing hard and racing fast. From the back roads to the blacktop, every Wednesday night, turning virtual dreams into a real life fight. Hands on the wheel, got the whole crew fired, burning up the track on the iRacing wire. It's country roots with a hip-hop beat in the Esports Oval League, where legends meet. No tow truck, no pit road dust. Still earn respect cause the grind is us. Frame by frame, lap by lap, every setup down, every line on the map. Ain't about luck, it's always in the seat. Finding hundreds every single week. Mic check, team set, fuel strategy tight. We're racing for the glory every single night. Some folks laugh, say it at the same till they buckle in and they feel that gain. Pressure's real when the white flag flies. Only one driver's gonna capitalize. Raise them up if you gotta stay late. Chasing one more lap, one more fake blue collar soul with a digital rifle. Sin living with a whole lot of pride. We're wide open, never lifting off the gas. Wide open, Laps Cup Series, built to make it last. Every bottle, every bumper, every photo finish line made us sweat determination and a whole lot of time. From the first green flag to the checkered in the air, every driver's got a story, every victory's earned there. Country heart with a rap style fire, stacking wins and taking dreams a little higher. Wide open laps, that's the family we claim. Esports Oval League, we're racing for the name. Yeah. Shut the door, fire the rig. One more race, one more gig. See y'all next week when the cautions fly. Wide open wraps till the finish line. Sun's going down, but the screen lights up. Boots by the door, got my lucky race cup. Clocking out dirty from a hard day's grind. Now I'm chasing checkered flags with a pedal and a line. Got a headset on, hear the boys talk trash. Every green flag drop, somebody's gonna mash. No $1 million holler, no chrome parade. Just a small town dream and a rig I built. Count it down, 3, 2, 1. Heartbeat rising when the pace lap's done. Every lap's earned, every inch is real. You can fake a smile, but you can't fake skill. We're wide open, never lifting off the gas. Wide open, Laps Cup Series, racing hard and racing fast. From the back roads to the blacktop, every Wednesday night, turning virtual dreams into a real life fight. Hands on the wheel, got the whole crew fired, burning up the track on the iRacing wire. It's country roots with a hip-hop beat in the Esports Oval League, where legends meet. Slide job clean, don't door me, son. Everybody wants that #1. Spotter calling outside, clear. One bad move and you're done right here. Farm town kids and the city boys too. Everybody's got something they gotta prove. Late night practice, 100 laps deep. Sacrifice today so tomorrow we eat. Pour down, let the tires sing. Every caution changes everything. We're wide open, never lifting off the gas. Wide open, Laps Cup Series, racing hard and racing fast. From the back roads to the blacktop, every Wednesday night, turning virtual dreams into a real life fight. Hands on the wheel, got the whole crew fired, burning up the track on the iRacing wire. It's country roots with a hip hop beat in the Esports Oval League, where legends meet. No tow truck, no pit road dust. Still on respect, cause the grind is us. Frame by frame, lap by lap, every setup down, every line on the map. Ain't about luck, it's hours in the seat. Finding hundreds every single week. Mic check, team set, fuel strategy tight. We're racing for the glory every single night. Some folks laugh, say it ain't the same till they buckle in and they feel that gain. Pressure's real when the white flag flies. Only one driver's gonna capitalize. Raise them up if you gotta stay late. Chasing one more lap, one more fake blue collar soul with a digital rifle. Sin living with a whole lot of pride. We're wide open, wide open.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the season opener of the 2026 B season of the Esports Oval League's Wide Open Wraps Cup Series, presented by Top It Off Hot Sauce, as we are here at the World Center of Racing, getting ready for 130 laps here tonight in the Bass Pro Shops 325 at Daytona. We've seen speed weeks during the course of the last couple of weeks, from pole day qualifying to the duels last Wednesday night. The grid is now set, and these drivers are ready to run for points in the first official checkered flag to kick off this brand new season. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Trey Whitehead, and Trey, you covered those duels last Thursday night. We know that drivers said that track position is a little bit of a premium when it comes to super speedway racing, but those were sprints last Thursday night. Tonight is the big one. Tonight you have to pace yourself to make sure you're around when that white flag waves the conclusion of lap 129.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see, especially with the shakeup we have with the stage links, with the first one being the longest of the three and eliminating fuel racing in the last two. So 2 sprints, it looks like, on the back end of this race on tap. But yeah, this first part is going to be really who's able to save their fuel and get a good strategy and score some good stage points in the new stage system we have.
Let's talk a little bit more about that as far as tonight. A little flip reverse in terms of the stages than what we'll be normally seeing during the course of this season. Normally, we're going to end up seeing the first quarter be the first stage, the second quarter be the second stage, and then the final half is the third stage. But as you mentioned, here tonight, we're going to see 60-plus laps as that first stage. With that being said, and more than likely a green flag pit stop in the works for these drivers. Saw a lot of them down there during this practice session, testing coming to pit road in a pack. Do we see a little bit more laid-back version of racing at the initial drop of the green flag, or do you think that all this pent-up anticipation during speed weeks are going to come to the forefront and we're going to see the double and three-wide racing right out of the gate?
Yeah, I mean, you could see a mixture of both. I mean, you had some guys that aren't in ideal starting positions because of their race last week in the duels, and some guys that like to run up front, and that's their strategy. They're going to work their way up there no matter what. So we're going to see some mixing up, but I do believe we're going to see some single file and trying to save some fuel and just get into a good position and only pass whenever you want to, make some leapfrogs and get a better spot for your pit stops. But yeah, the first stage is going to be really interesting to see. We kind of know what we're going to expect in the second and third stages, but this first one's going to be really cool to see how it works out.
We saw Whitehead Racing's Noah Jackson claim the pole position a couple of weeks ago. Will share the front row with Hubka Motorsports' Patrick McQuaid. Christian Ruse, his Chevrolet, took the checkered flag in the first dual race last Wednesday night. And DJ Daniels, we talk about, he seems to have a knack for Daytona, taking home that second dual race. Obviously, a lot of big names starting up there at the front, but you mentioned other drivers that didn't necessarily get the qualifying effort that they were looking for. 4 were not able to get the track position they wanted with their finishing results in their respective duels. How difficult is it going to be for drivers starting outside of the top 20, in some cases outside of the top 30, to find their way up to the front late in this race?
Yeah, with 38 out of the 41 expected to take the green, I mean, there's just not going to be any room. If these guys start going 3 wide, you're kind of gridlocked. And so what you're hoping for is that laid back mentality here in the first stage, and just being able to have the room to go outside of them. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of work for them to be able to get the numbers and just generate a run from the back, getting up to the front. So look for guys to try to make some moves, but the real question is who's going to be the helper that helps those guys that want to make moves get up to the front.
Here's a look at your starting lineup for this evening's race. As you'll see, there are 45 drivers listed. As Trey said, looks like we got about 38 of those drivers that are going to take the green flag here tonight. A few drivers putting in for provisionals. We'll hopefully see them on track next week when we end up heading to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But Noah Jackson, Patrick McQuaid going to be that front row. What I found a little bit interesting here, and maybe you can weigh in on this, is Jackson's a Toyota, McQuaid is a Chevrolet. Now in that second row on the inside is the Chevy and Christian Ruse. On the outside, the Toyota of DJ Daniels. Does the pole sitter Noah Jackson have a lane choice here on the initial start of the race? And do you think if he does, he would go up to the top side and line up with a fellow Toyota on the initial start of this race?
I think unfortunately for Noah, we do not have that in a position for the league. But yes, he would definitely prefer to be up there with DJ Daniel. Those two guys have raced a lot with each other over the years here in EOL, and like I said, it's really unfortunate, and that would also help Patrick as well, getting hooked up with Christian Ruse. So it'll be interesting to see how they shake that out here as they're getting ready to pull out.
Yeah, not sure exactly what was happening there. Patrick McQuaid a little slow rolling off the grid, and there are a couple of drivers behind him now. DJ Daniels in the 96, Kirby Wainscott in the 3 that do have some nose damage. Things were getting stacked up there on that outside line rolling off of pit road. We know that Daytona, Talladega, any super speedway is so aerodynamically dependent. It will be interesting to kind of follow here on the initial drop of the green flag whether that nose damage right around the Camry logo will end up affecting those couple of drivers up there second and third on the outside line.
Yeah, it looks pretty significant there for DJ and Kirby. So, they get a faster pair here in this race. I mean, if they're able to just stick in the pack and stick behind somebody, I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. But, yeah, if they accidentally get too much of a buffer behind the guy in front of them or they get put out in clean air, they're going to be a little bit of a parachute, and it's not going to go well for them. So we'll see how it works out for those two.
On the anticipation, the off-season, speed weeks here at Daytona, all about to come to a head. 130 laps await these drivers around this 2.5-mile banked super speedway. It's known as the World Center of Racing. It's really how you kind of set the tone to how your season potentially is going to go. Everybody wants that first checkered flag of the brand new season, as it'll be the Toyota of Noah Jackson, the Chevrolet of Patrick McQuaid. Pace car, we don't need you anymore for now. He'll make the left-hand turn to pit road, turn it into the hands of Noah Jackson, and the first points-paying green flag of the season presented by Muffler Man is waving here at Daytona. First 3, maybe 4 going to find themselves single file, about 4 rows deep of double wide, but notice a lot of drivers mid-pack to rear the field really spacing themselves out here in the early going.
Yeah, it's unreal how fast they're getting single filed out here. It looks like past 13th place. A lot of space being given, and yeah, these guys are just trying to get into a comfortable spot, it looks like. It's pretty interesting.
Christian Ruse, he's already taken a checkered flag last week in the first dual race. He wants to get himself up here to the front, see if he can lead a lap. He's got a lot of help there in the form of Brandon Zimmerman in the 65, another Chevrolet up there, and also Patrick McQuaid, who's starting outside the front row. Ruse clear, Zimmerman clear. They'll tuck down first and second going into turn 1.
Yeah, Ruse, a lot of confidence, especially after that dual race last week. super excited to pick up his first unofficial win of the season. But, points or not, I talk about motivation every time you get a race win. It doesn't matter where we go. And it definitely looks like it's paying off for him right now.
Saw a driver there pulled down onto the apron below the double yellow line. That's the 35 of West Fuller. That is legal. You can go down there and fall to the back. You cannot go down there and advance your position. So maybe another driver, another type of strategy that we're seeing here in the early going, trying to find a safe space to keep yourself around in the conversation. They say it all the time in super speedway racing. You cannot win the race on lap 1, but you sure as heck can lose it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like around Ace House, they're starting to, fall back to a second pack. They're losing draft off the front pack.
There's the 47 of House right behind him. Jeffrey Kleinsman in the 15. Mark Gonzalez in the 8. We didn't see Gonzalez in pole day qualifying, but he did participate in the duels last week as that Goodwrench Chevrolet, the Intimidator black on that machine, third in line, right in front of the Ford of CJ Papa.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like they're getting a little bit of a draft back, but that front pack is starting to sing foul out. Only 2 cars on the outside line in that front pack.
Is there like a window when you're looking at telemetry that you want to stay within of the driver in front of you to make sure that you don't lose the draft at a track like Daytona?
Yeah, when everybody's really spaced out like this, it kind of helps because you have the arrow push from behind you as well. But yeah, if you're the last car in a pack or something like that, or you're losing track of the guy in front of you and you're causing a second pack, usually it tends to happen outside of 0.3 of a second. This car has a lot of drag to it, but it hurts you. Also, you can get a bubble, and it's a whole lot of throttle modulation stuff. But yeah, you can lose them once you start getting outside of 0.3 of a second if you don't have that help behind you.
There were already a couple of stragglers at the back of the pack that appear to have lost the draft. Jax Matthews in the 52. Looks like his teammate just up ahead as well, Adam Stewart. They have lost touch with the trailing car of what I believe is the second pack here right now. We've also got Charles Childress back here, so not the best start for the drivers out of Black Flag Racing, and the defending champion of the series, Tom Bourne, looks like he may have actually rolled off from pit road. He is currently being shown almost half a minute, I should say, 30 full seconds behind the race leaders. These are drivers right now that they're hoping that an early caution saves them, because if we trend green for a lengthy period of time, these are drivers that we could very easily see get trapped a lap down.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go back and check the scoring column. I mean, I couldn't believe how far back he was. Yeah, I'm not sure if he rolled off from pit road, but yeah, he's quite a ways back, and he's going to be hoping on a quick yellow.
Gap from third place Noah Jackson back to Dalton McKenney. McKenney, one of a few drivers coming into this race that is a former winner here at this venue. Lilith Peters as well. Christian Ruse, who's currently leading this race. Christopher Reese and Brock Whitehead. DJ Daniels as well. Whitehead is a multi-time winner here. 3 trips to victory lane. DJ Daniels has made 9 starts in this series at Daytona. 5 trips to victory lane, a 56% winning percentage. That's not too bad at an unpredictable track like Daytona.
Yeah, if anybody was considered a favorite in this league, look no further than the 96. I mean, he just finds a way to get it done. I mean, he could have the worst race of all time right out back, and he's there with 5 to go and making a photo finish at the end. So, I mean, it's almost like you have to expect that when you come to this track.
We talked about it in pole day qualifying, but a very impressive rookie class here heading into the 2026 B season. Highest running, I believe, right now of those said rookies. 6th position, David Harrah in the number 39. It's going to be interesting to kind of see for the rookies here. With Daytona being as unpredictable as it is, a lot of times, you mentioned about DJ Daniels, how good he is at this racetrack, but when we go to super speedways, we also kind of look at the underdogs, the potential Cinderella stories, and there's nothing saying that one of these rookies may find victory lane here in the first race of the season.
Yeah, David had a really strong showing in his dual race, and I've been instructed actually that his last name is not Hara, it's Hera.
Hera, so, okay.
Yeah, very interesting, but he's really promising, but this entire rookie class They have a lot to show here at this racetrack, and I mean, you look at Kirby Wainscott and Travis Rodriguez. All these guys are really talented, and they ran really well in their duels. So as this race goes on, and it takes that kind of grit and determination to keep a race going, it's going to show who's got that. But yeah, all these guys had a lot of raw speed.
I know I said this a couple of weeks ago, but even with the last name Hera, he would say hurrah if he were the first one to the checkered flag here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to. I mean, that'd be an incredible showing for the rookie.
Riding on board with him just moments ago, and something that I am noticing here, which I think is going to probably change as we cross into the halfway threshold and maybe even further into stage 3, is a lot of space being given from front bumper to back bumper, about anywhere from half a car length to a full car length from car to car. Not really seeing drivers pull right up to the back bumper, lock those bumpers in a tandem in the early going. Everybody just kind of minding their P's and Q's to start with.
Yeah, everybody's got a faster pair, like I said, but these guys, they don't want to use it too early, so they're being really patient, and they're going to save that for later on in the race whenever the intensity starts to ramp up and the pay window starts to open for points.
Did notice the last time the leaders are making their way down the back straightaway, and there you see it again as they come off of turn number 2. They are fast approaching that number 16 of Tom Bourne, so he is going to find himself trapped a lap down. And as they continue to run green flag laps, they'll probably catch up to a bunch of those other stragglers as well, which may end up making the fight for the lucky dog very, very interesting. I did notice, however, though, I mentioned about Charles Childress, Adam Stewart, Jax Matthews way back there. Ace House has joined them as well. This almost seems like a strategy by design for the Black Flag Racing crew.
Yeah, you got to look at all 4 of those cars, and the first thing you see is they're all running the same paint scheme, different colors. So it's got to be a team effort, like you said. These guys are, trying to get something figured out. Maybe they're trying to get it to a one-stop. I mean, we've heard that it's 30 to 31 laps on a full tank, and maybe they're trying to get it to 38 or 37 and just try to get those extra laps so they can one-stop it instead of 2.
And you mentioned it before we even took the green flag, an entirely different, unique point system for the stages this season. Normally, it would have been that the leader, when they cross the stripe to take the green and white checkered flag, would get 10 points. 10th place would get 1 point, and the subsequent points from 2nd on down through 9th. But this season, it is guaranteed that if you cross the line to complete a stage inside of the top 25, you're going to get at least 1 stage point. The winner's going to get 10, 2nd through 5th get 5, 6th through 10th get 4, 11th through 15th get 3, 16th through 20th get 2, and 21st through 25th get 1. Might make things a little confusing for these drivers when we get closer to the end of the regular season and the playoffs start looming, but I think it's going to make things a lot closer as well in terms of who may be around that cut line by the time we get to the regular season finale.
Yeah, definitely spreading out the stage points is what we tried to accomplish there as an admin group, and we're still rewarding the stage winner with a huge points gap. I mean, if someone sweeps the stages and wins the race, they're up 70 points. But, the point gap to somebody who finished 2nd in all 3, is 18 points. It's an 18-point difference. So it's a huge gap for the guys that can win the stage. But, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that shakes out and how it affects the playoff standings.
Like Tom Bourne has found himself a place in line right behind Gavin Hutchinson, and we've got a second line forming mid-pack. Matt Davies, his Toyota, jumps up to that second line. There's Brock Whitehead, who had a great showing in his dual race, the second dual race. Whoa, close call there, as that was, I believe, Greg Wood coming down right across the nose of Ryan White.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to get back down to the bottom. They saw nothing was working, and the 34 almost got under the 67, but yeah, pretty close there.
This is back around the 16th position. Some drivers trying to gain themselves some track position, move their way up closer to the top 10. Matt Mettler up there on that outside line, 3rd car. In the 7, Mark Gonzalez behind him, and then the 40 of Charles Whitehead also on that outside line, but seen a lot of movement here as well. Not a whole lot of organization, and doesn't look like that second lane is going anywhere right now.
Yeah, 32 got out to a pretty big gap over the 31, and he was able to jump to the bottom, but that really stalled out that top line, and you can see Matt Mettler now leading that outside line.
Lap 14 about to be completed, lap 15 on the board. You mentioned about 30, 31, 32 laps, the window for these drivers. So we're technically at this point in time about halfway through a fuel run. I believe I read as well that these drivers run a 75% fuel capacity, not the full 100%. And I did notice a bunch of drivers, a bunch of big packs during the course of the practice session before they went to green, coming to pit road together. Something I did notice, you would normally think that coming to pit road at a track like a Daytona or a Talladega, where you have all that runoff space to be able to get the car woed down, and be fairly easy. I did notice a bunch of drivers with rear brake lockups coming down to that commitment line. That's got to be something that a lot of drivers have in the back of their head if this pit stop's going to have to take place under green flag conditions.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things that you overlook, like everything basic in the setup that comes stock. I mean, it could have a lot of rear brake in it. Guys don't see it, and their first time hitting the brakes at this track is coming to pit road. So if they didn't practice that in the practice session before this, man, they're in for a big surprise whenever they come down pit road. And for some reason, when I raced in the shootout a couple weeks ago, I noticed that the brakes were not as good as they used to be. So maybe an update on the iRacing side with how the brakes handle. But yeah, it's definitely unstable, and I overslid my pit stall a couple times during that race as well. So something to keep an eye on.
Mentioned about the damage sustained in the early going for both Kirby Wainscott and DJ Daniels. They're currently in the 8th and 10th positions right now, appear to still be up to speed in the draft. Is it safe to assume that that damage on the nose means that they probably can't be a lead car trying to move up to the front? They have to kind of run in the draft and make sure that they stay up to speed with the drivers around them?
Yeah, I mean, unless you got somebody, like, if you have a lot of momentum and you're getting pushed from behind, it could somewhat work to leapfrog a couple of positions. But yeah, they certainly can't go for more than one lap leading a line, or it'll stall out. And yeah, I mean, they're kind of at the mercy of everybody around them on if they're going to make a move or not. And they just kind of have to ride it out, like I said, until the first pit stop, unless they just don't take their fast repair.
Mentioned about the rookie class this season. There's another of them currently just inside of the top 10, David Lorfano. 08 out of Hubka Motorsports, just ahead of DJ Daniels, who's holding down the final spot inside of the top 10. And as Ryan White back there tucks in line, the entire field is now single file. And as we start to approach 10 laps away from potential green flag pit stops, when as a team, as an organization, do you start having the communication of this is our target lap, this is where we need to have ourselves positioned, all of the stuff that you need to have squared away to make sure that when your group comes to pit road, on entry, on exit, everything is flawless, so you all come in together and leave together?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, you know, teams can talk to each other in their Discord channels, but yeah, I mean, if everybody's trying to get to a pit, I mean, people are going to be talking over the radio waves to each other, trying to warn everybody. And if you're not pitting at that time, you kind of shade up off the corner a little bit just to give that little bit of space. Because if you're right behind somebody and they don't come off the racetrack before they hit the brakes, I've seen that happen. You can just flat out run them over, and it could cause a massive accident. So, yeah, just trying to shade to the outside if you're not pitting, and if you are pitting, just making that move really quick off of turn number 4, and especially before you get on the brakes.
Christian Ruse and Brandon Zimmerman, they've been nose to tail since the drop of the green flag. They were nose to tail last Thursday night when Zimmerman helped Ruse be able to pick up the victory in that first dual race. Subsequently, Ruse started this race from 3rd, Brandon Zimmerman from the 5th position. So both of them going to have pit stalls further down towards the exit of pit lane. Now, I have been told that normally you want those pit stalls down towards pit lane exit when there are pit stops under caution, because then there's not a whole lot of distance that you have to cover before you get to that commitment line. Little bit more of a detriment when it's under green flag pit stops, because you don't get that rolling launch that you would like to once the pit stop is completed under green. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's definitely the case, because you know, you can hit the throttle on caution pit stops and be able to go as fast as you want on exit, but yeah, you just don't get that time from the launch, especially if you're spinning your tires a little bit. I mean, that's all speed that you lose, and it costs you time on the racetrack, as opposed to somebody who has an early pit stall. They're losing time early, but they'll be up to speed as they hit the line, as opposed to you're spinning your tires, and you just don't have the launch that they do. So yeah, it's going to be a detriment unless they can get a really good launch without spinning their tires too much to be able to hold their positions.
Riding on board with Brian Zimmerman. Brandon Zimmerman looking ahead there to the race leader. Seeing these cars do a little bit of dancing there through the center of the corner, but not a whole lot of wheel movement out of the 65. And with talking about the fuel window for these drivers, obviously for Christian Ruse, he's not getting the benefit of saving any kind of fuel. He's creating the draft for the drivers behind him out there in clean air. He would probably be the Pied Piper for the rest of his teammates or those that are planning to pit with him as to when that lap is going to be. Can, as the leader, Christian Ruse make it to that target lap 30, or is he going to find himself a little bit shorter than some of the others of making that window?
Yeah, being told that, aggressive driving can get you about 30 laps on fuel. You can save, if you're in the middle of the pack, to get about 31, which is, funny enough, the length of the last two stages. Yeah, I think if you're Brandon Zimmerman, you're going to have to, just ride behind Roos. It doesn't look like he's pushing too hard, but I'm not sure if Roos is saving fuel at all because Zimmerman, that's the first push I've seen him give Roos in this entire run. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be really close for him to get to lap 30, and unfortunately, I mean, if there's 8 or 9 other guys that can get to even 31 or 32, I think you're going to see them stay out to that number. I don't think they're going to come in with him. So he's kind of, like you said, he's the guinea pig of this whole thing right now. And we'll see what lap he comes in, and we'll get a baseline on how they can do when they're riding wide open like that.
And even with those numbers that you're giving me, it still would mathematically have these drivers short of making it to the green and white checkered flag. 68 laps this first stage with 31 laps in stages 2 and 3. So with what you're saying, even if they could get to lap 32, we're looking at them being about 4 laps short of making it to the conclusion of stage 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a game of if you're going to try to save or if you're just going to bite the bullet and do a 2-stop. The main reason I think that these guys wouldn't come with Christian Ruse when he has to come as early as he does, it's all about time on pit road. I mean, the smaller amount of fuel you can take, to fill it up towards the end or whatever like that, just to get to the end, that amounts to time on the racetrack. So that's positions gained or positions lost. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see, how much fuel these guys are saving. And like I said, I'm looking at Ruse's speed. He's about 187, 188, not even getting a push from Zimmerman. So I believe he's wide open, and we're going to see the number he can get to. But yeah, these guys definitely can't get there without being a little extra on their fuel saving.
We appreciate everybody tuning into our coverage here tonight. The Bass Pro Shops 325 from Daytona. Seems to be quite a number of Chris Otto fans in the chat. There you see Chris currently holding down the 5th position. Started this race from 9th, so he's been in the top 10 the entirety of these first completed 24 laps. It does look like one driver's season is not going to get started the way that he was hoping. Mark Gonzalez looks like either he came to pit road a few laps ago or the connection issues that I've been seeing him have ever since the drop of the green flag have caught up to him. He's currently being shown 7 laps down. I believe he may actually be done for the night. So that is a tough break there for Mark Gonzalez, and we will have to see if he can bounce back, gain those points that he'll lose here tonight when we head to the West Coast and Las Vegas Motor Speedway next week.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it was part of his connection issues. I believe he was being told by race control to come down pit road and fix the issue. So he did pull it down pit road, and he has disconnected from the session. Oh, we see guys coming down pit road now. Zimmerman and Roos, a lot behind them.
David Harris. Oh, we got one sideways back there. That's Hupka right in front of a bunch of other drivers. It looks like a majority of these drivers are all of the Chevrolet manufacturer.
Yeah, no contact there on the number 5. Looked like he just tried to woe it up right at the last second at the line, and it just kind of kicked around on him sideways.
Travis Rodriguez, David Lorfano, Quinn Newton, Jeffrey Kleinsma all on pit lane, and Quinn Newton, one of that rookie class, maybe an early season rookie mistake. Looks like they may have just tagged him for speeding entering pit road. That is something under green flag pit stops at a super speedway you do not want to have happen.
Yeah, I mean, the penalty under caution is just an end of line for speeding on entry, but yeah, it's going to cost you about 30 seconds here under green, so he's definitely going to go a lap down, and he's just going to have to hope for a caution and get himself in the lucky dog position.
So I think it's pretty clear with how early a bunch of those drivers came down pit road here. They are obviously looking at this as a 2-stop stage. All those drivers coming down at the conclusion of lap 25 onto 26, so we might see them all pit somewhere around maybe lap 50, somewhere in that range for their final stop here of stage 1. The question is just how much longer do Noah Jackson, Dalton McKinney, Chris Otto, and others decide to go?
Yeah, I think the mindset there for those guys that just pit is, they're not going to have to, take as much fuel on their second stop. They only need to give a little bit just to get to the end of the stage, and they can pit again right after. But these guys staying out are banking on probably a caution, chapping those guys a lap down and having to take the waiver on when the caution comes out. So a couple different strategies already playing out. I mean, this first stage is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, the entire top 10 right now comprised of Toyotas and Chevrolets. I believe we have 4 Chevrolets to 6 Toyotas. We'll see if all those Chevrolets come to pit road together, or will the Toyotas and the Chevys all pit on the same lap. Noah Jackson started this race from the pole position after laying down that lightning fast lap time 2 weeks ago in pole day qualifying. Now out in clean air, Dalton McKinney, former Daytona winner, right behind him, with Chris Otto, Wally Babb, and Kirby Wainscoft right now your top 5.
Yeah, we're starting to get some teammates getting lined up together. I see Matt Davies, Peyton Holland, Brock Whitehead, Ryan White, all from Whitehead Racing, just outside or just inside the top 10. My apologies. Those are 4 Whitehead Racing cars that have already found their way to each other, and I'm sure that some other shuffling is going to happen for some more teammates to get linked up and get ready for their pit stop here in about 5 or so laps.
Quinn Newton has been released from pit road after that 30-second penalty you were talking about. He's a lap down. Chris Hubka, who had that half spin entering pit road, also a lap down. Rest of the drivers that came to pit road together, it looks like for the most part, they've all been able to leave together as well. Got a pretty good 7-8 car pack between them, but we'll have to see if they will cycle back up into the lead group once all these drivers up here eventually make their way onto pit road. I believe that was actually the pack I was talking about right there going into turn 3 as the leader was leading the field out of turn 2.
Yeah, right now that second pack, not very organized. Looked like they did some reshuffling, maybe getting a different car out front. Brandon Zimmerman now leading that pack, but yeah, they've lost a lot of time to this front pack, so we'll see how much they gain once that front pack pits. But yeah, a lot of shuffling going on right now. They're losing some time.
We saw obviously a pretty big pack come down pit road there, and it's almost kind of like being, I don't know, a traffic officer or something of, hey, I'm going to be in this lane, I need you to be in this lane, so that way you make sure that we all come to pit road, get woe down to pit road speed, and also don't run each other over. Just how much communication goes into that, and how much of it is just relying on driver's instinct that if you take care of the drivers around you, they'll take care of you as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're immediately calling out, like, as soon as you cross the start-finish line, what line you're going to take going into pit road. And my favorite was always just to go all the way to the inside wall. I could always make that work, but some guys prefer being higher up to the yellow line. And you see these guys with Noah Jackson coming to pit road right now. Nobody else with him, only Chris Reese.
So this is not necessarily an ideal situation for either Jackson or Reese, and the fact that they're coming down with no other help. There's all the Black Flag Racing cars on pit road there as well, making scheduled pit stops. It looked like a couple of drivers looked like they were potentially thinking about coming down pit road with Reese and Jackson, but then decided not to, pull back up above the double yellow line. Might be going another lap here.
Yeah, I think Jackson probably had no choice from leading the line, but once the other two were going to go with them, they probably looked in their mirror and saw nobody else peeking, so that's the safe choice to get back up. Now we've got some more coming down pit road.
Dalton McKinney, DJ Daniels is in. Greg Wood, whoa, close call there between the 67 and the 96, and there's about a dozen drivers on pit road this time. Add in Charles Whitehead, Hunter West, Cameron Coster, Thad Teasley is in. Zachary Woods, Matt Metler. Good chunk of drivers here. Looks like about 8 drivers electing to stay out, go one lap further here, as a majority of that lead pack was on pit road at the conclusion of lap 32.
I mean, insane pit road entry by Greg Wood. I thought for sure he was going to get a penalty and I'd see it pop up, but Yeah, no penalty there for the 67. What an incredible pit road entry by that guy.
But here's the thing, though, too, with that aggressive entry is here comes the rest of that lead pack onto pit road. Some, as you say, right down against that inside wall. Some swinging way out almost to the grass as that's Hutchinson getting spun in the back there, nosing it into the inside pit wall. And looks like he's going to try and get that car turned back around, but tough break there for him. But going back to the point I was going to make, as you were mentioning here with that bunch of drivers that came to pit road and the aggressive entry there for Greg Wood, it's looking like most of these drivers are going with maybe right side tires, maybe no tires. Is there a chance you could lock up the tires so much that you're actually forced to have to change forward?
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen increased tire wear at this racetrack, especially on the right side. So, you know, you're taking all that fuel, you might as well go ahead and change one set of tires, and guys are electing to take the rights because, yeah, the right rear is definitely getting hotter. I don't know if it's a setup or an iRacing issue with the racetrack, but, yeah, it's definitely causing some right rear tire wear.
And Patrick McQuaid right behind Christian Ruse, right behind David Hurra, and right behind Brandon Zimmerman. Those Chevrolets who we saw all come to pit road back at the conclusion of lap 25, they're going to cycle their way up to the front. Zimmerman now the new leader at Daytona.
Yeah, an incredible job by those guys, and you know you'll remember that these guys are the first ones to pit, and Noah Jackson, even the one to pit by himself, he is in this pack as well. So these guys have all seemed to find each other, and it's worked out for them so far through the changing of pit road strategy.
Some shuffling going on there. That was, I believe, Jeffrey Kleinsma who moved up 3 wide. I believe he put the 79 of Travis Rodriguez in the middle. You see Noah Jackson and Chris Reese. Doesn't look like them coming to pit road by themselves affected them as badly as I initially thought. Jackson's still going to be up in this group. Reese is going to find himself, oh, looks like he actually might have lost the draft. He's all the way back in the 33rd position. So it worked out for the 20. It did not work out for the 62.
Yeah, I'm being told now the 32, Matt Davies, black flag for that contact with Hutchison on pit road.
And he is currently in the process of serving that pass-through. Actually, looks like it's a stop and go for the 32 car. So he will most definitely fall off the lead lap right now. Not including the 32, we have 5 drivers that are currently a lap down, including Tom Bourne, who started from pit road, Quinn Newton, that got a black flag for speeding on his pit stop. Chris Reese has now fallen a lap down as well. Charles Childress, Jax Matthews also off the lead lap, and as they made their way through the tri-oval, Matt Davies joined that list.
I got a little bit of a second pack. Looks like 6 cars have fallen off that lead pack draft, and they're side by side. There's no progress being made by that group.
Matt Mettler leading that pack. Lilith Peters right behind. Thad Teasley, DJ Daniels, Greg Wood, and Zachary Woods all in this pack. Just taking a eagle-eye view of the front end of that 96. Can't tell. He might have. Let me double check. No, he did not take on the fast repair there to repair that nose damage. So maybe they were able to do a little bit of manual repair as the tires were being changed. There's also some pretty significant front-end damage on that U.S. Army Chevrolet of Lilith Peters. Not sure exactly where that came from.
Yeah, I think these guys are, just trying to ride it out, and they're going to take their probably manual repairs at the end of the stage and start at the rear. But, yeah, definitely not looking to use that fast repair too early because they just know, everybody knows how Daytona is. The big one is going to happen, and right now it's looking like it's going to happen later in the race in the later 2 stages that are shorter. So, yeah, just trying to save that and have some insurance in the bank.
Obviously, still quite a ways to go here. Another 30 laps before we see the first green and white checkered wave to complete stage number 1. But interesting as we watch this battle back here involving Charles Whitehead, Cameron Coster, and Gavin Hutchinson, who had to gather it back up there off of turn 2. This is 25th, 26th, and 27th. Remember, 25th on up are guaranteed to get stage points, so this could end up being a very important battle if they end up finding themselves still battling for this position as we approach the completion of lap 68.
Yeah, definitely manufactured entertainment with this new stage format, and it's going to pay off. We're going to see who out of these three guys wants it more.
Saw Matt make that Matt Davies back there. He actually fell 2 laps down before he was released from pit road, and now we're seeing a little back and forth of I'll lead a lap, you lead a lap. Dalton McKenney charged his way up to the front, was able to lead a lap, moved up to the outside line, and now turns the field over into the hands of the 39 of David Hara.
Yeah, for some reason the top 8 have actually broken away from 9th place Noah Jackson. Not sure how that happened, but it looks like these guys back here might be content to ride it out, and the guys up front just don't care. They're going to pit again, so they're just going to race it out.
Most of these drivers up here pitted at the conclusion of lap 25, so they definitely would have to pit. Noah Jackson, and I think most of the drivers behind him, they ended up running a little bit longer. Chris Otto, who's actually in the 11th spot, 3rd car in line of that second pack, he ended up being the leader of the final pack to come to pit road. Is there some way that Chris Otto and those that were some of the last ones onto pit road can save enough fuel to get to the conclusion of this first stage?
Yeah, based on when those last cars pit, they went about 34 laps if you count when they cross the start-finish line in pit road. So, I mean, it's going to be right on the money. I mean, these guys might be running out, trying to come back around to get their formation lap behind the pace car in stage number 1.
That's a big gamble too, right? Because caution comes out when the stage is completed. You still got another lap that you got to make before pit road is going to be open. So as you say, a lot of these drivers might be sputtering trying to get onto pit road under pacing when that green and white checkered flag waves. It's a risk reward. Maybe worth the gamble in the early going at a track like Daytona, but we'll have to see if it pans out.
Yeah, one thing I've seen people do in the past is, they'll take the stage end, come back around, and instead of waiting another lap to come down pit road, they'll actually just take their entering pit road too early penalty, which is only an end of line. So they'll just draw back to the end of the line and ensure that they're not going to, have to putt it all the way around the track. Ooh, Mettler actually catching the end of pit road there. I'm not sure if he's getting a black flag for that.
And it looks like he might be, yeah. 7 just got posted, and he was doing a good job of catching the group that he was leading up to the tail end of this lead pack. That is a lap car right in front of him, I do believe, but then the car up in front of him, Peyton Holland in the 18, was the trailing car in 14th position, and we're going to more than likely see Mettler have to make the dive onto pit road for a pass-through.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. I don't know if it was a push from the 0-1, but he definitely got squirrely coming out of the tri-oval and clipped that pit exit cone.
Keep tabs on that. Obviously, with the circumstances there, would there be a possibility that the 7 could appeal that to administration, get that black flag cleared?
Yeah, there is a possibility if it's something that happened with the race car, but I think this new RC is you're in control of your race car, I would say. So if you get loose and you clip that, that's part of iRacing. Everybody knows it's part of iRacing. You can't enter the pit road even if you just barely clip the pit exit cone. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this upheld, but yeah, this can definitely be appealed. I'm not sure that it is, though. It looks like it's still on.
So far in this race, Chevrolets have been strong. We saw the conglomeration of Christian Ruse and Brandon Zimmerman working together, leading a majority of the run prior to the pit stops. Now got David Hara, Christian Ruse, Patrick McQuaid, Jeffrey Kleinsma, and Brandon Zimmerman sweeping the top 5 for the Chevrolet bow tie. As a matter of fact, you got to go all the way back to the 9th position before you find the highest running of the Toyotas, that being the pole sitter Noah Jackson.
Yeah, they're still giving a lot of space in that second pack, so I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are trying to make it to the end of stage number 1. That would be incredible. What a feat that would be for them to be able to save that much fuel. But it can be done. Daytona is all about just modulating the throttle, like I said, and keeping the energy of the pack going so you don't lose too much time.
Are you surprised that Noah Jackson is, I guess in a sense, volunteering to be the leader of this second pack, since he was on pit road a lot sooner, a couple laps sooner than some of the other drivers back behind him?
Yeah, I mean, I think his bed was already made once he had to pit earlier than everybody else. I mean, you had to make it to the 33 or 34 to have a shot at making it to the end. So he's already made his bed, he thinks, and he's just trying to help. You know, he's got a couple teammates in this pack, so he's trying to help these guys out, get to the end and save some more fuel. He knows he's going to have to pit again, and he's only going to have to take a little bit of fuel, so he won't be in there too long and might not even go a lap down.
Now we're seeing some side-by-side racing up here at the front, but I think there's a little co-opetition going on right now. You got the 47 of Ace House, the 4 of Adam Stewart, the 5 of Chris Hupkin, the 13 of CJ Papa, all up here in front of these leaders. I think they were trying to work out where they could get some of those drivers that were in danger of going a lap down to be the leaders of this pack, so they can be the trailing cars on the tail end of the lead lap, not have to fight for a lucky dog by the time we get to the conclusion of stage 1.
Yeah, it looks like that's definitely what happened, and it's worked. I mean, you got 2 Black Flag Racing cars and Chris Hubka leading in front of Wally Babb in the 99. So, you know, they're just going to be content to ride up front. I mean, you know, Ace House is going to be burning a lot of fuel, but they already were. They were already falling back to these guys, and they're going to have to pit again. They already know that. So, everybody that you see right here is going to have to pit again. So it's just trying to get some positioning, and like you said, probably try to stay out in front of the leader.
How about Wally Babb, Chevrolet driver out of Mid-South Motorsports, started this race from the 15th position, got that Exalta Chevrolet out in clean air. Saw him work his way up into the top 10, now finds himself as the race leader. Dalton McKenney right now in the second spot. It looks like the 71 of Quinn Newton would be in the free pass position. About 5 cars back is where you would find his nearest competitor in CJ Papa. His Ford right now. Got a wall of Chevrolets in between him and that 71. Highest of the Fords right now that's up in this lead pack would be Travis Rodriguez. There you see him right now in the 5th position. It is, you basically have to go by the scoring pylon to figure out who is where, because you got a bunch of tail end of the lead lap and lap cars intermingled with lead lap cars in this front group.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we tried to get out of the way early. I mean, it's pretty interesting racing, but, you know, everybody likes the sprint racing that we're going to have at the end. So we're allowing this to happen earlier in the race and just see how it shakes out. And, yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of shake-up and different strategy just in this front pack.
Got that paint scheme on the 79 as well. A little Tony Stewart throwback, the Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin, I think, paint scheme there. That'll be a scheme that'll be quite fitting as we make our way into the latter portions of the October month. Well, it took nearly 50 laps, but Patrick McQuaid, who started on the outside of the front row, looks like he is going to be the race leader here, and may get himself a lap led as he'll move down in front of Ace House. CJ Papa getting a big push from Jeffrey Kleinsman there on the outside line as the 13 trying to get his lap back the hard way, but the Muffler Man Chevrolet looks like he's going to be the first one back to the stripe here, or is he? Ooh, that was close. Kleinsman gave it a try and was about a splitter shy.
Yeah, Kleinsman all over the back bumper of the 13 trying to get that lap led. Just comes up a little short, but yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty interesting up here. These guys are, you know, not content where they are. Patrick wanted to get up to the front, and he made it happen.
Just double checking my scoring here. And you mentioned about the 7 still having the black flag. Says about 8 laps ago that he was headed for pit lane, but he's still on the lead lap in the 15th position, so not sure if there's an update on whether that black flag potentially got cleared or not, but he's still up inside of the top 15 right now.
Yeah, we got quite a bit of cars back on pit road. Looks like that first pack, but yes, I am seeing that black flag was appealed and cleared by race control.
All those Chevrolets that we saw on pit road at the conclusion of lap 25. Looks like they're splitting this into 25 lap segments. Completion of lap 50, they all make the dive onto pit road. And I did notice an interloping Toyota in that group. DJ Daniels coming down with all those Chevy drivers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looked like Patrick McQuaid actually slid through his box and took 4 tires. So he's going to be at the tail end of this. He might even lose touch with these guys.
That's one thing that we haven't necessarily talked about is now here comes Wally Babb, Dalton McKenney making the dive onto pit road. Looks like they might be by their lonesome, at least from that front group. But obviously, daytime conditions, the heat of southern Florida, making those concrete pit stalls slick. Mention about the movement we saw out of these race cars as well. Maybe not a whole lot of grip in the racetrack itself, making these cars dance around.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's slick again on pit road entry, and Wally Babb handed with the too fast entering penalty.
It's a tough break there for the driver of the 99. Seen a lot of drivers here in the early going during the first completed cycle, and now this start of this second cycle get hit with speeding penalties or pit road penalties. As now Matt Mettler makes the dive onto pit lane. Looks like he's going to be joined by Chris Otto, looks like up ahead of him. You obviously don't want to get a penalty at a super speedway at any point in time, but if you're going to get one, is it better to get it here in the early portions of the race? Because, obviously it's super speedway racing, so you almost have a guarantee that there's going to be a yellow, and we always have the adage that cautions breed cautions. You then have at least a good portion of the race left to be able to try and mount a comeback from that early mistake rather than make the mistake late.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to get it out of the way early, but going a lap down and, not being able to get it back on your own is it's going to be really hard, because you have guys that, you don't have to pit here at Daytona. If you need fuel, you have to pit. And, with everybody's going to be pitting at the end of the stages, but if you're offset from that at all, I mean, you could be trapped a lap down for the rest of the race and literally just be racing as guys go a lap down and they wreck out. So it can be frustrating to get a penalty, but yes, you do definitely want it early, and then you got to hope for being able to be a wave around car or even get the lucky dog.
So now it's a question of everybody up here who has the fuel potentially to make it to the end of stage 1. Kirby Wainscott last time by made the dive to pit road, so obviously he cannot make it as we're riding on board with Noah Jackson, and I'm not hearing that car at full throttle. A lot of lifting, a lot of half throttling as he makes his way around, and obviously as well has the benefit of the fact he's not the lead car anymore, has a handful of drivers out the windshield creating the draft that he needs.
Yeah, if there's one more car that's guaranteed to have to pit, it's the 20, but this is just going to extend his time and be able to stay on the racetrack. And if the yellow comes out, he's in prime position. But it definitely helps him a little bit in terms of the distance he can go on his current take of fuel.
So right now, looks like 14 drivers are yet to come to pit road to complete this second cycle of stops. And there's not a guarantee that all of those drivers will be on pit lane by the time the green and white checkered flag is out. Jackson right now has a few cars in between him and the new second place driver. That is Brock Whitehead, who we saw finish runner-up in the second duel race, helping DJ Daniels get to the checkered flag in that duel. Brock ended up starting this race from the outside of row number 4. Right behind him is Peyton Holland. It's interesting because if you go back to the EOL shootout a few weeks ago, we ended up seeing this purple and black number 18 going low, going high, testing some stuff out defensively. Hasn't necessarily been having to be defensive here, and hasn't necessarily been on full-on offense either. Kind of been riding, so I guess a lot of what we saw him testing in the shootout, he squirreled away for later on in this race.
Yeah, I mean, you've got two 30-lap sprints, as we've alluded to in stage number 2 and number 3. Yeah, pretty much the same length as the duels, and that's when you'll see these guys make their moves. But if you're too far back, I mean, it's going to be really hard, like I said, to get the numbers and to be able to find the right spot to make your moves. But if there's anybody that I think can do it, it's definitely the 18. He has to find a way, or he has a way of finding momentum and creating his own speed. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. And we've got almost 10 laps to go here on this stage.
Lilith Peters, you saw right behind Peyton Holland, Thad Teasley, Greg Wood, and Zachary Woods. Those are the drivers on the lead lap up in this lead group. 7 lead lap drivers in total in this front pack. Can they potentially make it on fuel for all of those drivers? They would finish up inside of the top 10, which would be a guarantee of at least 4 points at the conclusion of this stage. Do you think, as we're now crossing, as you mentioned, into 10 laps to go in stage 1, if these drivers find that they are good to make it to the conclusion of the stage, maybe have a little left in the bank to be able to complete that cool down lap, make their way onto pit road when it's open, that we start to see drivers get a little racy up here in this lead pack? Because it may not seem like much right now, but if you finish inside of the top 5, that's 5 points. If you finish in the top 10, that's 4 points. 1 point difference, and by the time we get to the regular season finale, 1 point could be the difference on whether you're the last driver into the playoffs or the first one on the outside.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at that gap from second to first, I mean, that's 5 points. So, you know, if somebody goes from outside the top 5 trying to get up to the lead, that's a swing of potentially 6 points. And like you said, every point matters, but yeah, I mean, it got really intense for the winner of the stages and you know, those 1 point differences as well between the top 5, top 10, top 15, and so on. So,
well, bad news doubled for a couple of drivers out of Crimson Bear Performance. Gavin Hutchinson and it looks like the 12 of Cameron Coster came to pit road together and they sped together. So both of those drivers hit with a black flag, and they were already running back behind this lead group. I think they were a part of the 3rd pack here, and they're obviously going to lose a lap and a bunch more time here as well. I think this is probably going to take them out of the conversation for a lucky dog when the caution eventually waves as well. So tough break for a couple of teammates there.
yeah, I mean, if you're already riding, you know, back off the lead pack, you just can't afford any mistakes, and unfortunately one there. But you know, it could be early enough to where they come back from it in the 2nd and 3rd stage, but they're going to have to work for it.
Charles Whitehead, the number 40 car, was on pit road just moments ago. Came down pit road by himself. Looks like the 13 of CJ Papa also made a pit stop. Not seeing big packs of cars coming down pit lane like we saw there in the first cycle. It's mostly right now just kind of almost every driver for himself as to who's going to be able to reach the conclusion, who's going to have the fumes to get to that green and white checkered flag, and who won't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing Noah Jackson, 184 miles an hour. Guys, these top speeds on this racetrack can reach almost 200 miles an hour. That's got to tell you, oh, here they come down pit road right now.
Wow. Chris Reese also in. Ace House with Thad Tinsley really close right there. Lilith Peters a part of this group. Looks like 3 of our lead lap cars on pit road here. The 20, the 33, and the 01. That'll turn the race lead now over to that neon yellow and black number 31 Toyota of Brock Whitehead. Can he make it another 6.5 laps?
Yeah, desperate pushing there from the 18. They want to get tucked up behind this 2-car pack in front of them to help save a little more fuel.
Misidentification on my part. I saw a blue car coming off of pit lane. Thought it was CJ Papa. That was actually the Ryan Newman throwback of Cameron Coster. You see CJ Papa actually the lead car of this quartet, along with Patrick McQuaid, who currently are both being scored on the tail end of the lead lap in the 22nd and 23rd positions.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if this 31 and 18 and even the 67, Greg Wood, he's up here as well. If any of these guys can make it those extra 5 laps.
Really slow coming off of pit road there for the 4 of Stewart. And boy, I'll tell you what, the speeding police are unrelenting here tonight. Wes Fuller Hunter West, Ryan White, who were a group of 4 along with Justin Hutchinson. Those 3 hit speeding on pit road.
Yeah, it never fails. You really have to take your time getting on pit road, especially with this long stage, and all you're doing is coming in for fuel. So there really shouldn't be too much of a rush, but guys are trying to get every millisecond out of it that they can, and it's gotten a lot of guys tonight.
I'll tell you right now, if these guys up here at the front are able to make it the rest of the way, we are currently looking at nearly half of our field off the lead lap. It is going to make things really interesting if we end up seeing future yellows past the caution that will come out to complete stage 1. That battle for the lucky dog, we're now about half the field battling for that, while the other half battles for the race lead.
Yeah, I see Brock's speed is up in the 190s down the back straightaway. They have gotten 2 more cars in front of them, so that's 4 to make a buffer, but one of them jumps down pit road, and Greg Wood doesn't think he can make it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really close.
And Greg had just caught up to this group, was sitting about 4 to 5 car lengths back. Might have used up more fuel than he needed to in trying to catch up to the tail end of this lead pack, and he will dive to pit road from 3rd place. Zachary Woods is also going to follow him down. It's now a couple of Toyotas kind of on an island by themselves. They do have some drivers up there with them in Thad Tinsley, Chris Reese, and Patrick McQuaid. But then, if these guys can't make it, we drop back nearly 35 seconds behind them. That's where you find Chris Otto, Dalton McKenney, Kirby Wainscott, David Hara, and a bunch of others that have made pit stops within the window to make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, we see the 31 and the 18 coming down pit road. That's a splash and go for them. We'll see where they come out. But, yeah, it looks like Chris Otto is going to assume the race lead.
So the leader's on pit road. Otto was just making his way out of turn number 2. See where the 31 and the 18 are able to merge. Will they be with this group? Will they even still be inside of the top 10? There's Greg Wood up ahead of them. Greg was actually able to get out ahead of this pack. He will merge with them, so if he was able to do that from 3rd, there might be a good chance that if Brock Whitehead and Peyton Holland executed exactly the way they needed to, they may come out ahead of this group as well.
Yeah, they're going through turns 1 and 2. It's going to be really close as the leaders come through turn 1.
There they are just up the road, about midway down the back straightaway. They're going to get themselves up to speed. The problem is there's a half dozen drivers in this group that are barreling down upon them at 190 plus miles per hour.
Yeah, we should see this line go around them on the outside, but what an incredible job. They almost were able to pull it off and stay up front.
They should be able to, much like Greg Wood, be able to latch onto this group, which will keep them up inside of the top 10. They might be able to battle for a top 5. Who knows? They might still have a shot at winning this stage. That was 2 to go when they hit the stripe that last time by.
Yeah, a lot of aggressive pushing out of the 18. I'd be watching these 2 cars. Maybe they're going to make a move on the outside.
Otto, McKenney, Wainscott, Whitehead, Holland, Wood. Those are the drivers right now, 1st through 6th, that are in this lead group. They are guaranteed a top 10 finish. Most of them guaranteed a top 5 finish if they keep it together here. You will not look up at the flag stand and see a white flag waving, but there is essentially 1 lap to go until we see our first green and white checkered flag here to complete stage number 1. Is lap 68 put up on the board, and here comes McKenney to the outside. He wants the stage win.
Yeah, he made a move. Unfortunately, didn't have any help, and that's going to stack up that outside lane. But Brock all over the back bumper of the 46 out of 2.
Kirby Wainscott was maybe trying to make a move there. Now Otto up in front of Dalton McKenney. He'll keep the lead. Now he moves low. Here's McKenney staying to the right rear. Big push, big momentum. Look at the shove. Brock Whitehead's going to gift it. McKenney through 3 and 4.
Oh, what a move down to the bottom as well, being pushed by Peyton.
Got the help, got the push. Brock Whitehead is going to pick up 10 valuable points. He's going to win the first stage. Holland was just able to snipe the 2nd spot from, I believe it was Dalton McKenney. Wainscott and Otto gonna complete the top 5, and actually it looks like at the timing of the yellow, which is based off of when the top 10 crossed the start-finish line, Wainscott actually did get McKenny, so Toyota's 1, 2, 3 to complete the first stage.
I mean, an unbelievable finish there after all those laps, and we talk about fuel saving. I mean, it came down to a photo finish for a second in the stage, and so many moves and pushes were made. That was insane.
This is going to be the first caution of the night, presented by Solar Screen. Not for cause, the completion of stage number 1. And as you alluded to, Trey, we've now gotten through the marathon. Now we rack them up and get ready for 2 back-to-back sprints.
Yeah, and it looks like we've only got 21 cars on the lead lap. Wally Babb should be in position to get that lucky dog, so 22, unless some people stay out and take the wave around. But I mean, you need fuel, so I imagine everybody's going to come to pit road. So unless we have a spring of cautions, we've lapped almost half the field, like you were talking about.
Execution on pit road, mistakes as well, costly black flags leave us with 21 drivers on the lead lap at the conclusion of stage number 1. As you stated, Wally Babb gonna get the lucky dog here, it looks like, being the first car 1 lap down. And for a bunch of drivers now, they're gonna be relying on potentially a race of attrition in the second half to get them the lucky dogs they need to get back onto the lead lap. But yeah, that move right there by Brock Whitehead, able to push Dalton McKenny out far enough that when he made the move and had the help from Peyton Holland, was able to pick up that stage victory. And just how much confidence did these drivers have in making those type of moves? Because that was the best case scenario. We got to see them all race back to the start-finish line and all made it back in one piece. But there could have been every possibility that could have turned absolutely calamitous, and we could have seen a bunch of wrecked race cars in preparation for the second half, as we've got some contact on pit road. McQuaid got turned around off the nose of Peyton Holland. I think he clipped DJ Daniels.
Yeah, that was calamity right there on pit road. That's what we were alluding to. That could happen on the racetrack, but obviously can happen on pit road as well. But yeah, I mean, you got to have confidence in making those moves. And like I said, Brock Whitehead, no stranger to victory lane here at Daytona. He's got all the confidence in the world to make those moves. And, made right ones at the right time and had some help from a teammate to get the stage win. That was pretty incredible to see.
You mentioned it earlier about black flags that are received under caution drop you to the rear of the field. It looks like potentially the 39 of David Hera, the 71 of Quinn Newton, and the 16 of Tom Bourne were caught speeding on pit road. I believe Hera was the only one of the lead lap cars that was hit. Quentin 1 lap down. Tom Bourne, who again started this race from pit road, currently 2 laps down, is the defending champion of the series.
Yeah, looking back through the guys that are a lap down, it mainly is just guys that got that speeding penalty in the first stage. So yeah, that mistake coming to bite a lot of people in the back end, and the 71 as well. I believe it was the 71. Yeah, Quinn Newton also getting another penalty for speeding, or he might have been entering a closed pit lane. Not sure there, but he just gets an EOL for that, as he's already a lap down. We see the 32 coming around. Might have gotten the lucky dog. He'll be 1 lap down after that.
Do have a few drivers that, at least for the moment, are out there ahead of the race leader, Brock Whitehead. See the 62 of Chris Reese, the 13 of CJ Papa, and I believe that the car ahead of them is the 34 of Ryan White. They're actually going to go around, get the wave around here, so they're going to go with the gamble. They're not going to come down, take on the fuel. Roughly right now, it looks like they could go maybe another 20 laps before they'd have to make the dive onto pit lane. They're banking on a caution coming out before or within that window. Do you like the gamble?
Yeah, I mean, they pit not too long before the end of that stage. So with these being sprints, I mean, there could be a quick yellow and they're right back in it. They can go back down and fill it up. But yeah, it's a pretty big gamble, but they're going to start at the rear anyway, so they might as well, get back on the lead lap.
We are now well past the halfway point of this race, getting ready for stage number 2. That will conclude at the completion of lap 99 and set us up for our 31-lap final stage to at least regulations end at 1:30. We may end up tiptoeing past that depending on how the late race theatrics sort themselves out here with those wave around cars and the lucky dog. We're going to have 25 drivers on the lead lap as we get ready to go back green flag racing. And to remind everybody, this is just to kick off the season. We're back at it next Wednesday night when these drivers will head to the place that's known for a little gambling. We're at the 1.5 Las Vegas Motor Speedway next Wednesday night, continuing on this 2026 B season of the Esports Oval League Wide Open Wraps Cup Series. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to join us for that one, as it will be interesting to see once the dust settles here at Daytona what those storylines will be going into the first traditional speedway of the season. Pace car on to pit road. Brock Whitehead elects the top side here as the control car. Green flag back in the air. Pretty good organization on the bottom as Otto all over the back bumper of Dalton McKinney, and I believe going to get him out to the lead by the time they get into turn one. As soon as I say that, outside line surges right back.
Yeah, big push there from the 65 Brandon Zimmerman to the 31. It's a drag race through turns 1 and 2. I mean, these guys have no advantage. It's literally NHRA right now.
Dead even down the back straightaway. Great organization on both lines. See some shuffling around mid-pack here. And still no advantage for either McKinney or Whitehead. Out a little bit clear is McKinney through the center of 3 and 4. And I believe he's now clear for the lead off the final corner.
Yeah, and with this stage, you know, taking some laps out of stage 2, yeah, they're definitely not going to be saving any fuel. It's going to be straight racing from here to the end.
All Chevrolets on that inside line. 1, 2, 3, McKinney, Otto, and Ruse. Top side, you've got a Toyota being pushed by a couple of Chevys with Brock Whitehead, Brandon Zimmerman, and David Hara.
Yeah, we saw these guys single file out pretty quickly in stage 1. That's clearly not going to happen in this one. These guys double file. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody peek out 3 wide just to try to get their way up to the front.
And while we've got one eye on the front of the field, keep another eye back there around, well, for the lead lap cars, somewhere in the vicinity of 13th place. That's where the battle for the lucky dog is going on. Wally Babb, Quinn Newton, Adam Stewart, Hunter West, they're all in the conversation with lead lap cars all around them as well.
Yeah, the battles are getting really intense right now. We had the 34 drop down to pit road, the one that took the wave around, so we'll see where he shakes out and if he's able to hold on to the lead lap.
Brandon Zimmerman, once he got clear in that outside line, he's going to now be the lead car of the bottom, right in front of Dalton McKinney. He'll pull up alongside of Brock Whitehead, who now has a new drafting partner in the form of the 39 of David Hara.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of 3 wide back there with Peyton Holland and Chris Upka. They seem to have sorted it out, but yeah, these guys, the aggressive is getting turned up, and we're about to see some guys try to make their way up to the front and start to control this race and try to control their destiny.
And you mentioned about the fact that fuel not a concern here in this stage. They should be able to make it to the conclusion of lap 99. So is there a sense of urgency for those drivers in the mid-pack portion of the field to try and set themselves up with good track position for that final 31-lap shootout?
Yeah, usually you talk about guys outside the top 10 missing on stage points, but that's not the case anymore. But like you were talking about, every point matters, and so these guys are going to try to make as many positions up as they can to get just even 1 or 2 more stage points, because it's going to matter at the end of the season. And with this not being a win and you're into the chase, it's going to be pretty interesting to see who makes it, gaining all those stage points. Oh, contact back there, 32.
Whoa!
They're wrecking going into 1.
That's DJ Daniel going around. I think he got some help from the 08 of Lufano. That's going to bring out the yellow flag for the second time here tonight. First caution for cause.
Yeah, we had some 3 wide. It looked like it, tightened up on somebody, and contact was made, and it just accordioned back through DJ.
And that has all the look of a broken toe link for that Marlboro Toyota Camry. A driver who, as we mentioned, statistically coming into tonight was going to be one of the favorites, and I'm pretty sure that he still has that faster pair available, and boy, is he glad he does.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage on that 96, and he's currently, turtling it or crab walking down the back straightaway. So, yeah, he's definitely, I think he's still got that faster pair, like you said. He never fixed that front end damage, so he's got it in the bank, but I mean, still a long way to go. Just under 60 laps to go in this race.
CJ Papa on pit road, and boy, what a call there for Ryan White in the 34. You mentioned him come to pit road after he took the wave around. He stayed on the tail end of the lead lap, and we also saw Chris Reese go around taking the wave around. So this caution saved a bunch of drivers. Their strategy worked out exactly the way they hoped.
Yeah, it worked out really well for him. I mean, this is exactly what they were hoping for, a quick yellow, and they got it. So, yeah, they're back in the game on this one.
See if we can find out exactly what happened here. This was towards the rear of the field. A lot of movement taking place. Matt Davies coming down, getting Lufano. That might have been Jax Matthews in the 52 up there on the outside line. And yeah, just a lot of drivers. I'm not necessarily certain if the contact we saw that ended up bringing the wreck, that almost looked like a lot of that was in reaction to the movement that was happening just up ahead of them.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like there were 3 wide, some contact was made, and Hutchinson tried to make an evasive move and just got clipped, I think, by the 32 or something like that, and turned down into the 96 and sent him up into the wall. But yeah, it's just an accordion effect. Once something happens, if you're not looking at your windshield, you're looking at your hood pins, I mean, stuff can come onto you really quick.
Big hits up into the outside wall there. Ace House also getting involved. 3 as well of Kirby Wainscott. Looks like everybody with the exception of CJ Papa were able to drive back to pit road, which in and of itself is a big win, because when you end up having to take the tow, basically iRacing reads where you are on the racetrack and calculates how long under pace speed it would take for you to get back to your pit stall. That calculates out the amount of time that your tow is. If you're able to drive back to pit road, you don't have to deal with that headache.
Yeah, DJ also tried to drive back to his pit stop. I think he actually spun out through 3 and 4 with that broken toe link. I mean, really hard to drive on these race cars when it's broken. And, he was able to get in pit road and take his fast repair, but just was not able to beat the pace car out. He is 1 lap down.
Yeah, looks like he's going to line up the first car 1 lap down in the 25th position. Wally Babb getting the free pass, going to be 24th of the 24 lead lap drivers here for this upcoming restart. This is the second caution of the night presented by Solar Screen. Our first caution for cause, and we are, with the lights still on, going to have less than 20 laps to go here before we reach the conclusion of this second stage. And nobody coming down pit road, at least amongst the top 15 or so. No surprise there. Some other drivers, though, towards the tail end of the field coming down pit lane. So would this be a strategy where those drivers pitting now, topping off the fuel tank, would then shuffle up to the front of the field to start stage 3?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all about how much fuel you take, and if they take their fuel now and just kind of ride it out, yeah, they're going to have to take less fuel at the end of the stage, and they'll be able to, gain some spots to start stage number 3, which is, like I said, that's the pay window stage. Everything opens up around that time, and it's going to be pretty wild to see all these moves that everybody's going to make, and if that strategy pays off for those guys.
All manufacturers pretty well represented up here at the front of the field inside of the top 10. You got the Toyota of Brock Whitehead, who's going to be the control car. It'll be an all-Toyota front row as Greg Wood will line up to his outside. The Ford of Zachary Woods will be on the inside of row number 2, and then the Chevrolet of David Hurra is going to be on the outside of that second row. Brandon Zimmerman, Travis Rodriguez, Patrick McQuaid, Chris Otto, Christian Ruse, and Noah Jackson are going to be your top 10 for this restart. 24 drivers on the lead lap. 37 of our original 38 drivers are still out on the racetrack. The only driver officially out of the race tonight, Mark Gonzalez, and a lot of drivers hoping that they can potentially get themselves back onto the lead lap, back in the conversation, as this green flag will be coming out with 50 laps left to go in the Bass Pro Shops 325 from Daytona.
Yeah, 19 laps to go on the stage when they take the green. I mean, it's going to be green flag racing, nonstop passing, and just so much adrenaline and action. I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 wide coming to the end of this stage, just in anticipation for what we're going to see at the end of the race as well.
We've seen a lot of the Toyota, Chevys, and Fords work together, but they're all kind of broken up here through the top 10, top 15. How easy is it going to be for them to get organized back up?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be kind of every man for themselves, and you just find out who your friends are. It doesn't matter the manufacturer at this point in the race. You just got to work together.
Green flag back in the air, presented by Muffler Man as race leader Brock Whitehead. Gonna lead the field down into turn number 1. A great launch for him, maybe too good of a launch, as it also allowed Zachary Woods to clear himself into second.
Yeah, Brock jumps up to the outside there with Zach Woods, so we'll see if anybody makes any moves right now. They're kind of settling in, but yeah, it shouldn't be too long before we start seeing guys move left and right.
Yeah, you can see how darty a couple of those drivers are in that outside line, including the 39 of Hera, the 79 of Travis Rodriguez. I had to chuckle when I was looking over the driver lineup here. Travis Rodriguez, most of these other drivers all running for big teams, big organizations. His team listed as free agent. How difficult or easy is that for a driver at a super speedway? You kind of can pick and choose who you want to work with, but then you also don't have a guarantee that there's going to be teammates that are willing to work with you.
Yeah, it works out really well here at Daytona. I mean, you just try to work with guys all night long and build that respect, and it'll come back to help you at the end of the race. But yeah, everywhere else, I mean, it's going to be really hard for him to have communication on strategy, and he's done a really nice job, especially as a rookie running by himself. Up here in the top 10.
Noah Jackson spinning off the nose of Peyton Holland. Looks like, at least for the moment, the marshals are going to keep the race green. Now the caution will wave.
Man, I was just talking about Travis and Noah. Man, just completely sideways in front of the field. I'm surprised not the entire field was caught up in that. That's incredible.
Yeah, that was a move that Noah Jackson was trying to make down the back straightaway, and maybe a little mistimed there with Peyton Holland. Maybe was pushing on the right side of that bumper. Know that can get the car a little bit light if the movement is just not quite precise enough. And that spun the 20 car around, and we also saw, I believe that was the one of Hutchinson that was maybe beached up there on the transition of the flat apron to the banking of turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Noah tried to move down to the bottom, and Peyton, his help, tried to go down as well. But once he realized he wasn't clear, he tried to make a move back up to the top, and they come together. And the 20, I mean, incredible job to spin to the inside and not get hit by anybody else. I mean, that could have been way worse than what it was.
Let's take a look at it here. We kind of saw it happen in live time, had that wide panned out shot. Tell you what, they were 4, almost 5 wide back there too, all trying to figure out exactly where the 20 car was going to spin. Everybody behind did a heck of a job too, making sure that wasn't any worse than it was. I mean, we could have very easily been looking at the first big one of the night right there.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't gotten it yet. I think it's going to happen, but I mean, you can tell that the intensity is ramping up. We've just had 2 pretty quick cautions together, and I mean, the pushing is only going to get harder, and the moves are only going to get more aggressive as we continue to count laps off in this race.
Here's a look at what happened with Gavin Hutchinson. You see that car kind of bottomed out as he went over the bumps down there on the apron, slides into the grass, and then look out, Jax Matthews nearly gets clipped, and as he's trying to get the car turned around, you can see right here that rear diffuser almost kind of lifting the rear wheels up off the ground. He was fortunate to let the car ride back down the banking, punch the throttle, and be able to drive away, because I don't think that would have been a scenario where he would have wanted to take a tow.
Yeah, haven't really seen anybody get stuck on the bank and getting beached like that, but definitely don't want to be the first one for sure. So good job at getting it back off of there and able to continue in this race.
Gonna have to double check on who the lucky dog driver was there, as more and more drivers relying on these yellows to potentially get back on the lead lap. Believe it was Matt Davies in the 32, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, we saw him back in the first stage have to serve a penalty after getting into somebody at the entrance of pit road. So able to combat that penalty and will find himself back on the same lap as leader Brock Whitehead.
Yeah, I mean, he went 2 laps down, so an incredible job of just grinding it out and got the lucky dog on the last one, and then another quick yellow. He was in a really good spot, and he'll get it again here. And like you said, back on the lead lap, back in the game.
Did have a few drivers coming down pit road here, including Jackson and Holland. Looks like Wes Fuller and Ryan White. So keep an eye on those drivers to maybe stay out at the conclusion of stage number 2. Dalton McKenney, who was part of the group that came to pit road 5 laps ago under the second caution, he's actually been able to make his way up into the top 10. So there's no saying that Dalton McKenney, and you look at some of the other drivers back there too that also pitted with him, they might be able to work their way up here to the front, be able to take the stage victory, and then also be the control cars at the start of stage 3, since there's only 9 drivers up ahead of Dalton McKenney that at this point have stayed out and are waiting to make that pit stop once stage 2 comes to a conclusion.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an ordeal for some of these guys that are pitting right now to get fuel. And it's, like I said, just position gain at the end of the stage. You know, Brock could win the stage, but, you know, if 10 other cars came down before the end of the stage and took fuel, I mean, they could cycle in front of him just for having to take that little bit of fuel instead of a full tank. So
saw the 32 of Matt Davies go around to get his lap back. Look at the top 10 here, and there's some names that we haven't mentioned yet tonight that have done a really good job staying out of trouble. There's 2 reasons why you don't necessarily want your name to be called at a super speedway. The first reason is because you probably ran into trouble, and then the second reason is because you probably ended up getting a penalty on pit road. Normally, if you lie under the radar at a super speedway, you're having a good night, and that's the case for a couple of drivers up here now inside of the top 10. How about 6th place Justin Hutchinson in the number 10 machine, and David Lorfano, who we saw, I believe he actually was nearly in danger of falling a lap down a couple of times the first half of this race. He's now up into the 9th spot.
yeah, incredible job at flying under the radar at super speedways, and part of the game is, you know, riding in the back and avoiding all the mayhem. We haven't had that many crashes, but, you know, sneaky days for these guys. No black flags for both of them, and they're doing all the right things to get themselves in a good spot, and I can't wait to see where they finish here in the stage.
Well, we saw Brock Whitehead. He had the help there of Peyton Holland be able to pick up the green and white checkered flag in stage number 1. Boy, what a statement it would be if he were able to sweep the first 2 stages here tonight at Daytona. He's going to be the control car. We should get the lights out on the iRacing pace car this time by, so it looks like with lap 85 completed, we're going to be setting up for roughly about a 14-lap shootout to the conclusion of lap 99. And Whitehead this time is going to have a Toyota lined up with him. He had to rely on a Chevrolet and Brandon Zimmerman on the last restart. Zachary Woods is going to be outside of the front row. Chris Otto will be outside of row number 2. Travis Rodriguez, Josh Hutchinson, Brandon Zimmerman, David Lorfano, David Hara, and Christian Roos, going to be the top 10 for this restart, with Matt Davies back on the lead lap. 25 drivers now on the same lap as the race leader. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get to the conclusion of stage 2 here? That'll be our next caution? Or do you think we've now started to set the trend as the pay window begins to crack open here? We're going to start to see cautions on a more regular basis.
Yeah, I had to double check everything. I think we are back green. We're on the back straightaway coming into turn number 3 right now.
Oh, nope, you are correct. I did not have us live. That's a mistake on my end. Apologies.
I was making sure I wasn't going crazy. These guys are going, and yeah, I mean, it was pretty confusing for me. But
I was trying to figure out why the positions were changing so quickly.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty weird how iRacing works sometimes. I mean, you can click live and it'll be, not live sometimes. But yeah, nothing crazy happened, so we really didn't miss anything. These guys just kind of settling it out too wide right now.
Rodriguez now the lead car on that inside line. Dark Horse Mustang actually side by side with another Ford and Zachary Woods up there on the top side. 3 wide shading there as Chris Otto momentarily was running the middle line. He'll now tuck up in front of the 10 of Hutchinson.
Yeah, not too many moves being made right now. Not quite 10 to go in the stage, but the pay window's starting to ramp up for these stage points.
Bear in mind, with Matt Davies back in the lead lap, now, if you're on the lead lap, you're guaranteed stage points. 25 drivers currently on the lead lap.
Yeah, he seems to know that. He's just riding in the back right now in the top line. He's not content getting up there and getting involved in another accident or having another penalty.
Good pushes on that inside line. Rodriguez was alongside of 3rd place. When they were coming out of 3 and 4 the last time by. He might be alongside of Brock Whitehead for the race lead as Brandon Zimmerman has been giving him all he can handle on the back bumper.
We got a wreck in the back.
Massive pile up. There's the big one.
Yeah, 3 wide gone wrong there. Somebody got squeezed and got turned in front of the pack. Looked like Charles Whitehead involved and Charlie Childress as well.
Kleinsma looks like he was involved. Ryan White, Wally Babu had just gotten back onto the lead lap. It looked like that was right around maybe the 13th position on back. You could see there was a huge gap from the trailing cars to all those that were swept up, and maybe one of the toughest types of a wreck to miss at a super speedway is a wreck that's taking place in the corner because you're never really able to gauge where the cars are going to end up by time you appear on the scene. We see them traverse from the outside wall down to the apron, and then from the apron all the way up to the outside wall. It's just a matter of hoping that by time you get there, the gap you need to sneak through is going to stay open just long enough.
Yeah, I mean, insane wreck back there involving, almost 10 cars it looks like. And one guy that I thought was going to get through it was Matt Davies, but he definitely has some front-end damage on both sides.
That was Jeffrey Kleinsman, the 15, that appeared to try to shoot the middle. Got into the left rear quarter panel of Charles Whitehead and then turned him down into the 24 of Charles Childress. So Kleinsma in a Charles sandwich, if you will. And a lot of these drivers, more than likely with the damage we see sustained, going to have to rely on that fast repair. And that means you've got 40 laps and hoping that you keep things together. Don't tear up the equipment again because the mulligan is now gone.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of those guys, they're just going to have to ride out the end of the stage. And unfortunately, being at the back, if you want to risk it, you can try to get back up to the front and get your track position back. But you're putting yourself in a risky spot not having a fast repair.
I'll tell you somebody that definitely is going to be deserving an onboard here, and that's Peyton Holland in the 18. He did get some contact, but man, I'll tell you what, he did a heck of a job of sneaking his way through that wreck. He got a front row seat really of where the initial contact was, and then had drivers wrecking to his left and his right, and was able to skirt out with minimal damage.
Yeah, it looks like he did a really good job. As soon as he saw the contact, he hit the brakes, and luckily he was in the middle. Nobody behind him. He had all the room in the world to check out for that wreck.
He's on board with Charles Whitehead, just nowhere to go. It's a helpless feeling. Try to still drive the race car, try and see if you can maybe get the thing pointed back in the right direction, drive out of the incident, but that car was smoking as it left the scene. I think even the right front tire was up and off the ground. Let's take that on board here with the 18 of Peyton Holland. You're going to see right out the windshield, the car that he is behind is the 15 of Jeff Kleinsma, who's making that move up the middle 3 wide.
Yeah, it looked like Kleinsma had the position in the 40. Charles, just comes down on his right front. And at that point, if you're Kleinsma, there's cars making contact on the inside, and you just have to hope that they're not going to sweep up in front of you. And unfortunately, they did. They collected him in that accident.
This 4th caution coming out here, presented by Solar Screen, is going to make things continue to be more and more interesting as the conclusion of Stage 2 approaches. I believe we are going to be able to get them back green. The question is going to be for how many laps? Double checking, it looks like... I don't know if we have a confirmation yet on who the Lucky Dog driver is going to be. And just kind of double checking here as well of drivers involved in that wreck that had to take on fast repairs. Wally Babb, Matt Davies, Charles Whitehead. It's like Gavin Hutchinson is also a fast repair in. Same can be said for DJ Daniels and Lilith Peters, as well as Ace House. So those are all the drivers right now that have used up that valuable mulligan for the remainder of this race.
Yeah, looking at the math of it all, looks like we should be going green with 7 to go in the stage.
Lights out in the pace car. Field will double itself back up here. Again, double checking. Not sure I do see anybody that went around to get their lap back. I might have missed it, but we're currently showing 24 drivers on the lead lap. As Whitehead again is going to have a fellow Toyota in the rearview mirror in Greg Wood. Travis Rodriguez going to line up to the outside of that front row. He will have Brandon Zimmerman as his drafting partner. Zachary Woods, David Hara, Chris Otto, Christian Ruse, Justin Hutchinson, and Kirby Wainscott. Going to be back up here inside of the top 10. Remember, Kirby, I believe, at the conclusion of Stage 1, took the wave around, got the caution he needed, and he's now cracked his way back up into the 10th position. Seven to go here in stage number 2 as the green flag presented by Muffler Man back in the air. Once again, the Toyotas from the bottom up to the top going into the first couple of corners, and we kind of saw that back during the EOL shootout as well. If you can get the line organized up in that middle to high line, that's kind of the preferred lane, especially to get the run off the corner and down the straights.
Yeah, one thing it also does is it jams up the top line for anybody in the back trying to make a move 2 or 3 wide to try to advance their position. You see Roos jump down to the bottom there, but he's not going to have any help. You'll see him gain a couple spots, but he'll drop back eventually to the 88 of Otto.
And we're already 3 wide mid-pack. That's Peyton Holland in the middle. He'll jump down to the bottom. Matt Mettler now in the center of that, along with Dalton McKenney. 2-3 rows of 3 wide just in the latter half of the top 10.
Yeah, very close there. Contact between the Holland and Hara on the bottom line. That could have been in some more carnage, but luckily he was able to save it.
Kirby Wainscott up on that outside line, the blue number 3. Right behind him, Patrick McQuaid. Ryan White also up there as well. All these drivers battling tooth and nail in the latter half of the top 10 to try and get themselves a higher accumulation of stage points at the completion of lap 99.
Yeah, I tell you what, Chris Otto with the chrome horn moment of the race right there pushed Chris Otto all the way, Christian Roos all the way to the race lead.
And now Chevrolet's 1, 2, 3 with Ruse, Otto, and Hera. Then the Toyota of Peyton Holland. Side by side for the 5th position. That's Justin Hutchinson on the bottom. Noah Jackson up there on the high side. What a comeback after that car was spun around on the back straightaway a couple of cautions ago.
Yeah, one of the most aggressive drivers in EOL, and it's showing here on the Super Speedway. Big pushes there from the 31.
Whoa, Hutchison! Maybe an uneven bump there down below the double yellow line, and he's going to try and find a space back up here in the entrance of turn number 3, but he was running around the 8th position at the time. Oh, and he's spinning out there at the back on the apron. I don't think that he came up the racing surface in front of anybody, but boy, that went from really good to really bad quickly for the driver of the 10.
Yeah, that apron, no banking at all. Oh, we got contact for the lead!
Caution is out as the 39 of Hera around in front of the field. Drivers scattering in the entrance to turn number 1. And this, more than likely, is going to end the 2nd stage under caution.
Yeah, it looked like Holland tried to go to the outside, squeezed into the wall by Hera, trying to preserve the race lead. And yeah, he went around. Luckily, not too many cars involved in this one.
Ace House in the 47 you see there on the right side of your screen is... I don't see any rotation out of that left rear tire for the 39 of David Hera. So obviously some major suspension damage as we'll go back to the extent of the tri-oval into turn 1. Take a look at what happened to bring out the 5th caution of the night.
Yeah, that's another one that certainly could have been a lot worse than what it was, but man, just some aggressive racing up there for the stage win.
A little contact from Travis Rodriguez as well. Matt Mettler able to just get down to the inside and avoid. Almost made contact with Chris Hupka in the 5. There's another car up there on the top side as well that might have gotten a piece of it. We'll have to double check. It was hard to tell from that vantage point. Did the 39 not know that the 18 was there? Because it didn't necessarily look like he moved up to block. It almost looked like he was just running normal line, and unfortunately his line ran the 18 out of room.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think once you when you're the leader and somebody behind you, especially when he's got a teammate behind him, makes a move, you're in desperation mode. I mean, you're going to get freight trained on the bottom line if you're David there. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a late block or, like you said, just kind of nonchalant running his line and unfortunately got into the 18. A big mistake there, and he was also hit with the black flag for the cause of caution, so he'll be at the end of the longest line.
Very similar to when we saw Noah Jackson go around the back straightaway. Kudos to these drivers going into a treacherous portion of the racetrack, the entrance of turn 1, to have that wreck be not nearly as bad as it was. Only a handful of cars getting some damage here, and I had to chuckle as we were watching the latter portions of that wreck. The iRacing pace car with no regard for the 39 driving right through him. Have you ever had that situation happen where the pace car drives through you and your initial thought is someone just plowed me?
Yeah, so there's a couple times, but most recent one was at Las Vegas a couple years ago, and you know, I was the race leader, and we passed the pace car, so we had to let him by, and I'm, you know, just kind of chilling in the lead, going super slow, trying to let him by, and I mean, he just flies right through my car. I about to have a heart attack. I mean, you just think you're getting absolutely plowed through, and I can only imagine what the 39 was going through there when he saw that pace car drive through him. So
all of the lead lap cars came down pit road here on the first lap that it was open. We are shy of lap 99. Did Race Control call that caution the completion of stage 2?
Yeah, no confirmation on that. Trying to find out myself, but I will let you know if I see anything.
So Dalton McKenney, who I believe had to take on less fuel than a bunch of the drivers ahead of him by virtue of pitting under that second stage, is going to emerge with the top position. Noah Jackson in second. Brock Whitehead, who was the leader, I believe, or no, correction, he's going to be in third place with Wally Babb and Christian Ruse, the top 5. Yeah, not sure exactly how if indeed they end up moving the completion of the stage up to the time of that caution, exactly who the stage winner is going to be as well, because obviously we saw the 39 go around. Peyton Holland, I think, was able to gather it back up. I don't know if he would have been declared the stage winner or not. We'll see if we can get some confirmation on that, but at least for right now, we do know that Dalton McKinney will be getting us back under green. And when they come around, it would be where the stage would have been completed at lap 99, taking us now into stage number 3.
Yeah, I am being told that the stage was called at the time of the caution, so that's why everybody came down pit road and got full service.
I believe at the time of caution, I think Peyton Holland was the race leader, so it looks like Toyota's going to sweep the stages. Brock Whitehead with stage 1, Peyton Holland with stage number 2. Now can a Toyota complete the sweep and take the overall checkered flag here tonight? We're going to have to wait and see. Bunch of drivers took the wave around here to get themselves back on the lead lap, including Cameron Coster, Quinn Newton, Gavin Hutchinson, Lilith Peters, DJ Daniels, Hunter West, and Jax Matthews. So we go from 24 drivers on the lead lap now to 30 drivers on the lead lap. And again, as you mentioned, with what we had for the scenario back in stage 2, similar scenario here in stage 3, everybody should be able, with that pit stop, to make it to the regulation conclusion on what they've got in the tank.
Yeah, you alluded to this as well, and props to you. I mean, Dalton McKinney and Wally Babb both only took 5-second pit stops as compared to 9 to 10 seconds for a full tank. They were ones that short pit during the middle of stage number 2 and did not have to take that much fuel here to start stage number 3. So they've cycled up to the front on the outside.
Dalton McKinney, a former winner here at Daytona. If I recall correctly, it was the second trip to Daytona that season, nearing the conclusion of the regular season, yet to win a season opener here at the World Center of Racing. But he chooses the top side here as the control car. Green flag is in the air. Stage 3 begins here in the Bass Pro Shops 325.
Yeah, we had a massive stack up towards the back, and a lot of these guys are going to lose touch of the draft. Not sure what happened there.
Chevy's on the top, Toyota's on the bottom. Jackson and Whitehead against McKinney and Babb. Looks like the Toyota's maybe a little more organized, a little closer draft. And Jackson will immediately clear on that outside line, jump up in front of McKinney. Now maybe going to try and create a wall of Toyotas in this front row.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they're doing. Or actually, you see Brock jump to the outside as well. Maybe they wanted to swap who was pushing who there.
Christian Ruse will now be the lead car on the inside line. His connection with Brandon Zimmerman back together. Those two were working nose to tail for a majority of the first stage, and now find themselves bumper to bumper once again, trying to get something going the shorter way around the racetrack. Maybe not necessarily the faster way around the racetrack, as more organization up on the top.
Yeah, the top gets a lot of momentum out of the corners. They're able to stay full throttle, and it's less of an impact on the car in front of you if you're pushing from the top line, because there's not, the transition is less harmful on the race car and the weight shifting. So a lot more aggressive pushing on the outside, and they're able to just carry a lot more momentum.
Another former Daytona winner on the inside line now leading. That is the bright red 62 of Chris Reese. Now he is a driver that has formerly won the season opener here at Daytona, and he's making a great charge here. As soon as he pulled down in front of Christian Ruse, they've made a ton of progress on that bottom line.
Yeah, a lot of experience out of that number 62, and like you said, no stranger to victory lane at this racetrack, especially at the beginning of a season, and he's looking to get it done again.
It's like about 23 drivers on the lead lap in this top group. A few drivers towards the back that might be saving some fuel, maybe didn't get themselves caught up to the field by the time they went green for the restart. Newton, Hutchinson, that's Gavin Hutchinson, DJ Daniels, Lilith Peters, all back there in a group of about 4 drivers, and you can see the Gold 71 just barely there leading that pack in your screen, but they're looking about roughly, 30 car lengths back from this top pack.
Yeah, they're not really getting any time at all. It's kind of stagnant, 3.6 seconds, somewhere around there. But yeah, they're going to have a whale of a time trying to get up to these lead time cars.
Jackson continues to show the way. It's not an easy feat to go coast to coast, pole to win at a super speedway. But Noah Jackson is trying to do exactly that. Jackson was a part of the championship 1 season ago, trying to maybe punch his ticket into the playoffs right here in the season opener. Brock Whitehead trying to do all he can to keep that 20 car out in front. I did notice that specifically there through 1 and 2, Brock Whitehead may be running a little hot. Saw him kind of shading to the left side, get a little clean air to the nose as he tries to stay in touch with Jackson's Toyota.
Yeah, the left front is really sensitive temperature-wise here at Super Speedway, so if you can get it out in the clean air, it can help you modulate that water temperature and keep that engine running a full song.
Outside line building the momentum once again. It seems like Chris Reese, he can get up alongside of Noah Jackson, but then the following lap, that inside line will lose momentum, lose ground as, whoa, close call there between McKenney and Babb, the 3rd and 4th cars on that outside line. Is that part and parcel of what we're talking about here with these drivers overheating, these pushers to the pushies, having to create some space to cool the engine down, and that just kind of kills the momentum that was built the lap prior?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the guy in front won't know to give room to the guy on the bottom to the left front. And, you know, if the guy on the bottom behind the leader of that line is having to let off a lot instead of getting clean air to the left front, yeah, it's going to definitely hurt the momentum. So looks like that's what's happening down there on the bottom. The 62 not giving enough room to the 14 to be able to breathe, but guys on the outside are able to work that to perfection, it looks like.
Saw a move there by Greg Wood from bottom to top in front of the 6 of Zachary Woods. At least for the moment, everybody just in a mannerly 2-wide formation in this lead group. Couple of stragglers there in the back, latched on to the tail end of this draft. When exactly do you think we start to see a 3rd line try to form here?
Yeah, and, you know, with the shortened stage, I am worried about fuel a little bit for the guys that are leading their respective line, because we restarted with about 32 laps to go in the race, and that's right on the number. I mean, just a little bit over. So you have to save a little bit, but, you know, for the guys riding in the back, I would aim for about 15 or 10 to go to start making that move and start making your friends.
That is a really good point, and obviously it is a little bit more difficult to gauge based off of best lap times, as we're 3 wide right here. Matt Davies put in the center of Dalton McKenney and Brandon Zimmerman. Looks like they sorted that out, but boy, that was a moment for the front of the field right there.
Yeah, I mean, incredible job by everybody all night long. You know, we've had a couple of big wrecks, but, you know, some situations where it could have gone way worse. That is another one of them. I mean, that's about 4 or 5 situations that, you know, these guys have handled pretty well after being put in tough spots.
I was going to mention, just prior to that moment over in turn 3, obviously draft comes into play for these drivers' best laps of the night, but for a majority of these drivers, we're looking somewhere in the range of 46 3s to 46 5s as their best laps that last time by for this front pack. And granted, there's not nearly the same energy, not the same number of cars as there were in the early portion of this race in this lead group, but they're clocking in the low 47 1s to 47 3s. So the pace is obviously slower. Is that the race leaders backing the pace down to make sure they can make it the rest of the scheduled distance on fuel?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It's got to be that, you know, they're trying to save a little bit of fuel, because they're probably just as worried, if not more than I am, about making it to the end. And yeah, the speed's barely getting over 190 down the straightaways. I mean, we've seen 200 at this race at one point during this race. And yeah, it's definitely being halted a little bit. Oh, we got some checkups down there, Chris Reese.
Yeah, Reese now going to fall to the back, as I don't know if he went down there of his own accord or got shuffled out. But there he is down on the apron, and this looks a little more untoward than just getting shuffled out, as he's traversing the apron all the way through 3 and 4.
Yeah, something happened. He got checked up or something and was put down below the yellow line and just he never got the room to get back up on the racetrack safely.
You see the 71 of Quinn Newton coming to pit lane. Remember, he was one of a number of drivers that took the wave around, and we're hoping for a caution to come out to keep him on the lead lap. This is a regularly scheduled stop for him, and you got to wonder about some of the others that also stayed out to take the wave around, like DJ Daniels, Gavin Hutchinson, Lilith Peters. They are currently sitting 20 laps into this run. They're about maybe 10 laps away from when they're going to have to pit. The window of opportunity for a caution to save them is running out.
Yeah, we just had somebody else back out, Brandon Zimmerman, going to the back. I don't blame him. These guys, I just saw 2 shoves that sent somebody into the middle of 3 wide. And I mean, it's getting really aggressive up here at the front.
And they're about to come up on the 39 of David Hera, who is currently 2 laps down. He's going to yield onto the bottom. They are double wide behind him, so we're going to be 3 wide for a good portion of this back straightaway.
Yeah, we had the 32 almost look 3 wide bottom on the 35 coming out of 2. Smart to back off there, but let's see if David can rejoin safely here.
It's incredible when you look through the field right now. Oh, we got trouble in the back! Someone got up and clipped the 6 of Zachary Woods. Caution's going to fly for the 6th time here this evening. That's the caution that trio of drivers I was talking about that took the wave around needed to see. But we've got a bunch of torn up race cars over there in 3 and 4. Matt Metler appears to have been caught up. I think Justin Hutchinson was in it. Kirby Wainscott as well. Might have all stemmed from everybody trying to get organized as they were making their way around the lap machine of Hera.
Yeah, we were just talking about Hera having a safe rejoin. Looked like he was a little late on his rejoin and clipped the apron going into 3, shot him up into the 10, and that started everything.
There's a look at it again as they were making their way towards the exit of the back straightaway. As you said, just clips the 10, and Charles Whitehead's involved. I believe that's the 33 of Tinsley that was collected up in that. Matt Metler as well, and there you see Zachary Woods facing the wrong way, sliding along the outside wall from midway through 3 and 4 all the way, almost midway from turn 4's exit to the entrance of the tri-oval.
Yeah, not sure any instruction given there to Hera to stay on the bottom. Usually lap cars go around the outside to avoid this kind of issue, but yeah, not if leaders gave him any instruction to run the bottom, because you saw the top lane was what was being filled primarily. So not sure there, but yeah, just unfortunate there for a couple of those guys in the back.
Just nowhere to go for a bunch of these drivers that were up on the outside line. There was Kirby Wainscott back there. Ace House maybe with a little bit of contact also. So about 8 drivers collected up in this incident, the 6th caution of the night. It's a yellow flag brought to you by Solar Screen. And we're looking potentially, depending on exactly how many laps we are going to be under caution, of maybe being in the vicinity of a 15-lap shootout. You talked about a lot of the drivers up there at the front, a question mark with us having the expedited conclusion of that 2nd stage, maybe not being able to make it on fuel. I would assume that this is the caution they needed as well to ensure they're going to reach the conclusion of lap 130.
Well, we just had a lot of guys come down pit road. One thing we didn't think about was the green-white checkers. I mean, you could have enough for the end of the stage and the end of the race, but if this thing goes green and then we have a late caution with like 2 to go, yeah, you don't have enough fuel for those green-white checkers. So I think these guys would rather give up their track position right now and be able to have it once everybody else needs to pit if we do end up getting those green-white checkers.
Yeah, we had 25 drivers on the lead lap, and all but 11, to your point, came down pit road to top off. in potential preparation for this race going past the scheduled 130 laps. A bunch of Toyotas coming off of pit road first with Jackson, Brock Whitehead, Greg Wood, followed by the Ford of Wes Fuller and the Chevrolet of Gavin Hutchinson. Again, to remind everybody, next week we continue on the 2026B Esports Oval League Wide Open Wraps Cup Series, as we'll be at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for race number 2 of the season. Certainly going to be following a bunch of storylines. Drivers that are going to find success here tonight, Daytona, will look to carry that over into gambling country. Drivers that may not necessarily finish out this race the way they want to, going to be looking to gain those points back 1 week from tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on FRN. Lights out, so it looks like we are going to get ourselves a 16-lap shootout in regulation.
Yeah, 16 is a lot, and the guys up front that didn't pit, you mentioned the top 11. Yeah, they're good on fuel to the end. If we don't get any cautions, or maybe if we get one about halfway through this, we won't see them pit. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if, sometimes putting fuel in the car actually stables it out a little bit. You have a little bit more weight in the rear for whenever you make your moves, and it's not going to get light on you. Yeah, it's going to be a wild finish here. I don't think we've seen the last caution, unfortunately, tonight.
Hunter West got the lucky dog under this most recent yellow. There was a point in this race around halfway where there were only, 21 drivers on the lead lap. These cautions now put us at 31 drivers on the lead lap. And there's still a couple of hopefuls trapped a lap down in Ace House, CJ Papa, and defending champion Tom Bourne that would like an opportunity to get themselves back on the lead lap. But laps are dwindling. Time is running out. We're going to sit at 16 laps to go when the green flag waves once again, with Dalton McKenney, the control car, Wally Babb to his outside, Chris Otto in third, all Chevrolets in the top 3. Travis Rodriguez, Jeffrey Kleinsma going to be your top 5, with Christian Ruse, Matt Davies, Patrick McQuaid, Peyton Holland, and Ryan White, your top 10. I believe, looking at this current top 10, I count at least 4 drivers that at one point or another in this race were trapped off the lead lap and have been able to make their way back onto the lead lap, and now up here in the hunt, not only for a top 10, a top 5, maybe even a checkered flag here tonight in P1. Great launch there for Dalton McKenney and Chris Otto on that inside line. They're going to have a couple more Chevrolets jump up behind them, and Jeffrey Kleinsma and Christian Ruse. Well, not so fast. Teammates now will go to the inside. Oh,
we got contact.
Wally Babb into Matt Davies right in the exit of turn number 2, and we're going to have ourselves another big one here at Daytona. DJ Daniels collected up in that one. Looks like Charles Childress as well. More torn up race cars as we draw closer to the end of the season opener.
Yeah, just some more 3 wide going wrong. I mean, guys coming through the middle, and I don't think Wally Babb expected it kind of come down a little bit. I'm not sure if it was off the front bumper of the 79 of Travis Rodriguez, but yeah, definitely off the right front of Matt Davies. Not sure how much movement was on either one of them, but yeah, just right in the middle of the pack going through turn 2.
There's Wally Babb. He was the car that we saw out of shape. Saw the 12 of Cameron Coster pull up alongside of him there. He's got some damage as well. Let's take a look at the incident there coming off of turn number 2. Again, this quite close to the front of the field. I believe that Wally was running just in the latter half of the top 10. Had gotten shuffled out there on the restart. I think he was running around 8th position. And as you said, 3 wide. The thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is Talladega, 3 wide is not really that much of a problem because there's a lot more space. Daytona is so much more narrow.
Yeah, it's insane how tight it can feel going into the corners. The back straightaway is actually pretty wide here at Daytona. Definitely not like what it is at Talladega, but I mean, the feeling, the sensation of the squeezing of the lanes coming into the corner, just because of the transition into the banking. I mean, it's a pretty crazy feeling, and yeah, it looked like just again the outside lane just traveled a little bit too far low.
Looks like DJ Daniels got into David Lorfano. I think both those drivers might be okay. Contact made, but I don't think a whole lot of damage sustained there. Wes Fuller, he ended up having a car across his nose, so not sure exactly how much damage around the grill area he might have gotten. Also saw the 17 way down on the inside line of West, who had just gotten back on the lead lap, so I'm not sure if he pulled down there to avoid the incident or if he maybe got a latter portion of the wreck, but by my count, we've got about a half dozen drivers that were involved in this, the 7th caution here tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, out of all the carnage, Jeffrey Kleinsma, leader of the race, started 31st. Not in a lot of trouble, just kind of minding his own business this entire race, and he now leads in what will be within probably 12 to go when we go back green.
Saw him make that huge move with help from teammate Christian Ruse to be just ahead at the time that the caution came out. Saw him try and make a 3-wide move earlier. As you mentioned, he ended up getting a black flag EOL for causing the incident, so had to march his way back up through the field and going to be the control car on this upcoming restart. I believe that Tom Bourne got the lucky dog under this caution, has spent almost the entirety of this race off the lead lap, started from pit road. The field swallowed him up quickly under green flag conditions. At one point, he was as many as 2 laps down, and now, 117 laps later, he's back on the lead lap. But there's not a whole lot of laps left, and he's going to be back somewhere between 27th and 29th. So, not sure we can necessarily say that the defending champion is going to kick off this brand new season in victory lane at Daytona, but just how much ground could he potentially make up in these final, it looks like we're going to be around 12 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, if we have another big crash like that pretty quickly, I mean, he's going to gain a lot of spots if he can avoid the accident. And yeah, we're going to have right at 12 to go. So, like I said, you can get some numbers and get to the outside and make some moves. And I don't know about 3 wide. I mean, we've seen so many wrecks happen with 3 wide happening. So it's going to be very scary for him if he does go 3 wide. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, he can make up quite a bit of spots if there's a couple other quick accidents.
Jeffrey Kleinsma is going to elect the inside line for this restart. Christian Ruse, his teammate, helped push him to the race lead. At the time the caution came out, he would have had the option of starting the outside of the front row with Ruse on his back bumpers. Does it surprise you he's taking the inside line here? Or have we gotten to the point now with these restarts where it doesn't matter where a teammate is lined up in the second row, you got to defend the inside line here going into turn 1?
Yeah, I think it's more of just a numbers situation. I mean, you have 2 cars lined up behind you on the inside if you take the inside and only 1 on the outside, but, that 1 is the one that helped push you to the lead, so not sure how that is, sorting itself out over there. They're both co-owners of Ruse Kleinsma Racing, so maybe team orders to take the bottom and take the numbers, but yeah, Chevrolet Brigade through the top 5 right now, and then 4 of the next 5 to round out the top 10 are Toyotas, and it's just going to be pretty wild to see how this shakes out and if the 15 is able to reconnect with the 14.
And Dalton McKenney out of Mid-South Motorsports, Chris Otto out of Redline Racing Team. So not teammates, but we saw them working together. This might be a opportunity to break them up as well, put them kitty corner to each other, with McKenney on the outside of row 1 and Otto on the inside of row number 2. As here we go, getting ready for our 7th restart of the night. Kleinsma and McKenney, Chevrolets both get us back under the green flag here at Daytona, nearing 10 laps to go in regulation.
Yeah, big restart there by Kleinsma on the bottom, and you see Roos able to get down behind, I believe that's McQuaid, on the bottom. No, actually, that's Otto. Roos is lined up behind Otto in front of McQuaid on the bottom. 4 Chevrolets.
Great comeback for Patrick McQuaid. Saw him have some pit road issues first half of this race after starting from the outside of the front row. Now back up here, challenging inside of the top 5. Brock Whitehead, our stage 1 winner, now looking up the top. Whoa, got loose there as he almost got into the back of Chris Otto, who threw a big block on him.
Yeah, big check up there from the 18, contact from the 20. I mean, pushing drivers through other drivers is usually not a good scenario, so, you know, it's pretty crazy that the 31 was able to hold on to it there.
And remember, Brock Whitehead, Peyton Holland, Noah Jackson, you see all those Toyotas jump down to the bottom. They're good to go on fuel, not only to the completion of regulation, they got a little extra in the tank if we go into overtime, so they are full court press right now.
Yeah, big side drafting there out of the 88, and it's actually somewhat worked. Dalton McKinney now connected to the back bumper of Otto.
Saw Peyton Holland kind of move up there, a little hip check to Chris Otto. Maybe thought that side draft a little too close down the back straightaway. Stalling out that momentum as Whitehead clear for the top position. Holland's clear for second. They're trying to get Noah Jackson towed clear of the Chevrolets, third on that inside line.
Yeah, what a drive by these Toyotas. I mean, they came back from just outside the top 10 to now be 1, 2, 3.
So far, Toyota has swept the first 2 stages. They want to close out the deal with the first checkered flag of the brand new season. As Peyton Holland a little high there out of turn number 2. Was he taking a look? Was he trying to cool down the motor? Because he had Noah Jackson almost wondering if he had to shoot up the middle 3 wide, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, the 15 was getting run on the bottom. Brock was kind of shading a little low just to try to cut that air off. We got contact mid-pack. Travis Rodriguez.
Looks like that might be the only driver around as it slides down to the apron through the center of 3 and 4. Caution out for the 8th time tonight. Tough break there for Travis Rodriguez, who's been putting together a solid Daytona race, but now going to find himself with a damaged race car and more than likely starting towards the rear of the field on this upcoming restart. Yellow flag waves once again. We'll rack him up for another restart. This one should still be in regulation.
Yeah, another unrelated incident. Tom Bourne tried to make a move going into turn number 3. Zach Woods got a push by Matt Metler. Tom was no longer clear after that, and he was the only car spun as well in that separate incident going into turn number 3.
It's Jackson Matthews in the 52 that got up into Travis Rodriguez. Maybe some contact as well for the 99 of Wally Babb. And we saw as that incident took place, that other incident that you were referring to on the right side of the screen. We'll look a little bit more in depth at that, involving the 16 of Tom Bourne. Again, for all these drivers here at the back as the laps are ticking down, you mentioned that the field can almost get gridlocked. There's really no way to move your way forward because every available lane in front of you is taken, and so that's why we're seeing almost a sense of desperation begin to kick in for all these drivers mid-pack to rear of the field because they know that their time is running out.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day at Super Speedway Racing, I mean, these guys would be spread out, so you'd be able to make a move, not have so much drag on the race car, and make your moves and you know, use your speed to get up to the front. But that's just not the case nowadays. You need numbers. You need guys to work with you. And when all 2 or even 3 lanes are being taken up by other race cars trying to do the same exact thing, I mean, you're essentially just going nowhere. So you just got to, you know, find the right holes and maybe push somebody up and then make a move on them late. And I mean, you're not making a lot of friends at this part of the race. You're more take than give at this point in time.
Scoring is correct. It looks like CJ Papa will find his way back onto the lead lap. 32 drivers on the lead lap when we go back green. Got to do a double check here on a couple of drivers. You see the 13 make his way around the top there. Lilith Peters and Ace House, very lengthy stays on pit road right now. I'm not sure if they are actually getting service, or if they are actually done for the night. And it looks like, as I check, both of those drivers are back behind the wall. So it took us quite a while to get our next DNF driver, as up to this point, Mark Gonzalez was really the only driver that was not out there on the racing surface, but now Lilith Peters and Ace House going to join him in the garage area. I believe that for Ace House, with a number of laps left, I think he will fall no further than 36th. For Lilith Peters, I think she will drop no further than 35th. I don't think that David Hera can score enough laps to bypass either one of them in the running order. Again, that's speculating that we don't have numerous overtime green-white checkers.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's looking like, we're definitely heading towards that. But, yeah, incredible numbers to still have, 34 cars still running after 123 laps at Daytona. I mean, I thought this was going to be a huge caution fest, which, stage 2 kind of was. And then stage 3 was looking pretty promising. We're getting down to crunch time. You expect cautions to happen and as moves are made. But yeah, I mean, to have that many cars still running is an incredible job by all these guys.
Yeah, of these 8 cautions, I think I've got written down 3 big ones and 4 should have been big ones. I mean, some incredible driving by all of these guys here tonight to not make bad situations worse. I mean, we could have had about half the field that we have right now at the conclusion of this race, but the fact that we have so many drivers still out there, and currently 32 of the original 38 still on the lead lap, incredible. And tell you what, just gets me more excited for these races coming up here, the continuation of this season going into Las Vegas next week. I mean, close quarter racing here tonight, pretty narrow racetrack. Next week, you put them at Las Vegas, they're going to have a lot of options, from right down on the bottom of the racetrack to rim riding up on the cushion against the outside safer barrier.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to call Daytona a driver's racetrack, but it takes a lot of skill, to get to the front and stay up front here at Daytona and avoid all the carnage. And, these 3 Toyotas, I mean, they pit, like we were talking about. They took their fuel for the extended green-white checkers. We've had like 3 or 4 cautions since then. They've still managed to work their way up to the front. So, I mean, it can be done from what we've seen out of these Toyotas.
So talk to me from a driver's perspective. You've got 2 of the Toyotas on the bottom, 1 Toyota on the top. How would you orchestrate getting everybody lined back up here while still keeping the momentum, not giving the other drivers an opportunity to get a run on you as you are orchestrating that formation?
Yeah, with 3 cars, it's a little easier than it was the 5 earlier with the Chevrolets. But I imagine with Brock being the control car, he's going to launch it a little early. After the start-finish line, he'll jump down in front of the 18, and they'll just try to get the momentum and hope that the 88 and 46 don't get connected very well, and they can move to the top or bottom if they need to. So we'll anticipate that to happen, and I will probably bet $100 on that.
In regulation, 6 laps remain. Who's going to take the first official points paint checkered flag of the season? Green flag waves once again, presented by Muffler Man, and right on cue. There you go. You called it, Trey, as Brock Whitehead pulls down to the inside line right in front of Peyton Holland, getting those Toyotas lined up heading into turn 1.
Yeah, and if I'm the 46 behind the 88 on the top, I'm not happy with who I have behind me. I have Ryan White, another Whitehead Racing Toyota, up top. Once there's a gap open on the bottom behind one of his teammates, he's going to jump down there. So you're going to lose help eventually. And you see them all pretty tight right now, but the bottom line getting a huge push.
See these cars dancing down the back straightaway, headed for turn number 3. Tight formation on both the inside and the outside lines, as Otto trying to get up alongside of Brock Whitehead's right rear quarter panel. Big shove from behind by Dalton McKenney. Stack them up about 10 to 12 rows deep of side-by-side racing.
Yeah, the 34 really not trying to push these Chevrolets past his teammate on the bottom line. Oh, DJ Daniels making a move outside. He got in the wall a little bit, top of 3 wide back there.
How about that gold number 71 of Quinn Newton? After getting back on the lead lap, courtesy of the wave around and a timely caution, he's up here inside of the top 10.
Yeah, very impressive from Quinn. I mean, had back-to-back speeding penalties in stage 1. Yeah, very impressive to be up here in the top 5, or just about. trying to contend for that race win.
Oh, look at that. Peyton Holland found just enough space up in front of Ryan White to slot in third car on that outside line. Now he's got the Chevrolets in front of him, and Brad Otto got clear for the top position. He pulls down in front of Brock Whitehead. The defensive moves are now beginning to be made.
Yeah, you see Brock trying to push the 88 out, but Chris is kind of dragging that brake a little bit. That's a tactic to keep that 31 glued to the back bumper so you can't make a move.
A Chevrolet leads the top, a Chevrolet leads the bottom with a duo of Toyotas in each respective line following. Boy, the momentum really died in that outside line, and here come the Toyotas to the outside. Brock Whitehead, Noah Jackson, but help comes for Chris Otto in the form of Jeffrey Kleinsma and Christian Ruse.
Yeah, what a move. I mean, that's exactly what you wanted out of the 31. You want to push the 88 out to the lead where you and your help get clear.
Oh!
Up to the top, we got contact on the one.
Justin Hutchison up the racetrack, going to collect a bunch of drivers in the entrance to turn number 1. Caution now waves, and Whitehead was ahead by half a car length coming out of turn 2 when the caution flew.
I mean, an unbelievable move by the 31. I mean, the 88, I think, was trying all his might to try to keep the 31 and his help to 20, stuck on the bottom line, but they were able to push him out there and get clear and make the move up to the top.
There's Justin Hutchison. He was the car I saw get turned up into the outside wall. Tom Bourne back here might have gotten swept up in that. That's Jax Matthews in the 52, just behind him as well. The entire top 2 lanes, middle and outside line, were completely blockaded going into the entrance of turn number 1, and a lot of drivers just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. Once again, 3 wide back there. It just squeezes. The sensation of the racetrack narrowing when it actually doesn't. It's just a feeling, and that just creates a lot of contact, especially when they're 3 wide.
3 wide, almost 4 wide. I don't think that Hunter West was up far enough to make it 4 wide, but at least from one of the camera shots, it looked like they were shading 4 wide there going into the first corner. Cameron Coster with a late hit in this one. Matt Metler was in the middle of this in the 7 car as well. You got to wonder with all these cautions now and seeing drivers involved in multiple incidents, got to throw the question out there, just how many of them still have that faster pair available. We may end up starting to see more and more drivers join Lilith Peters, Ace House, Mark Gonzalez in the garage area before this race officially reaches a conclusion.
Yeah, we just went to 4 guys having meatball flags, which means they have damage not able to be repaired. And, they're headed down pit road right now. But, yeah, very unfortunate. We just had a lot more guys involved in that one.
He's on board with the 12 of Cameron Coster. It's a little help from behind there. And as he's trying to make his way by the incident, Tom Bourne just in his path. Big hit for that Ryan Newman throwback machine. See that the impact was so bad it even actually detached the hood from the hood pins there, as the hood bouncing up and down as he makes his way through the infield grass out of turn number 2.
Yeah, for Justin, I mean, he's just riding there on the bottom, and a bunch of guys are trying to make moves with the momentum, 4 to go, or it might have been 3 to go. Yeah, he's just on the bottom and just gets clipped after it just gets really tight above him, and very unfortunate for him. He had a really good race going.
And you see as we bring it back to live on the top left of the scoring pylon, we are officially headed to overtime. When the leader crosses the stripe here, we will have completed the 130 scheduled regulation laps. But now Brock Whitehead is going to have to hold off a thundering herd for at least 1-2 lap shootout here as we traverse into the extra innings at Daytona in the season opener.
Yeah, you got to imagine he's going to choose the bottom with Noah Jackson as they come out of turn number 4 to get the 1 to go. But that's also going to leave 2 Chevrolets up top, and Chris Otto and Jeffrey Kleinsma, and Chris Roos will also be behind Kleinsma as well. So those are 3 really strong Chevrolets that'll be on that outside line.
Looks like Chris Hubka going to get the lucky dog here under this caution. He was 2 laps down. Had to wait quite a while. Had to wait a number of yellows for the drivers 1 lap down to get back on the lead lap. This caution will put Hubka at -1. Currently in the 28th position. 27 drivers on the lead lap. And as you correctly predicted, the Toyotas will line up nose to tail with Whitehead right in front of Noah Jackson. That will put the Chevrolets nose to tail on the outside line with Chris Otto and Jeffrey Kleinsma. And we've talked all race long about the momentum of the respective lines, the tightness or the lack thereof of the respective formations. I'm assuming at this point, if you're the pusher, you're not even caring about the water temp. You're staying committed to the bumper of the driver in front of you because you don't want to break that draft and that momentum in this overtime.
Yeah, you can go about a lap and a half at full song, locked onto somebody's bumper without blowing up, and that's about all you get on a green-white checkered. I mean, you're not up to speed until, the middle of turns 1 and 2, so it's going to be really close. Maybe you make a move out of turn number 4 and you prevent it from blowing up on you. But a driver that I'm keeping my eye on, Patrick McQuaid, started outside pole, very quiet all race, didn't hardly talk about him, just inside of the top 10 and 8th right there behind Roos. Let's see what kind of moves that 77 can make. He's no stranger to victory lane here at Daytona as well.
I remember when the last season that FRN called, we dubbed him quietly consistent, and he has been so here at Daytona as well. Obviously a tough break for 5-time Daytona winner DJ Daniels, but very impressive that Noah Jackson, Patrick McQuaid, who qualified for the front row in pole day qualifying, and our dual 1 winner Christian Roos, all up here inside of the top 8, all with a shot after the great starting track position to maybe close out the deal here tonight at Daytona with a checkered flag. But they're going to have to make their way by Brock Whitehead, who was able to pick up that green and white checkered flag at the conclusion of stage 1. He's been up front just about all night long, and he gets us going for overtime here at Daytona.
Yeah, Christian Roos did not get a good restart on the outside line, and that's not going to help Kleinsma at all. Only 2 cars connected on the outside and 4 connected on the inside.
Goal right now for Brock Whitehead is get the field back around to the start-finish line. If the white flag waves, the race will be official. If a caution comes out before they get back to the start-finish line, the waving of the white will rack them up and we'll do it again.
Man, I tell you what, I guess it's Toyota reunion time at the top. The top 6, 5 of them are Toyotas now. Just an unbelievable job to get hooked back up together. Wow, 4 teammates.
Yeah, they are all lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that inside line is now Chris Otto gets put in the middle. The Chevrolets are breaking ranks, and the Toyotas are all nose to tail as through the tri-oval, white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go here in the Bass Pro Shops 325. Wrecking in the back.
Yeah, massive contact. Wally Babb, Tom Bourne involved. It looks like 17 of Hunter West also.
Green flag stays out here as Brock Whitehead getting pushed way out in front by Noah Jackson, who might try to make this a 2-horse race between the Toyotas.
Huge momentum in that top line led by Greg Wood. We'll see what's going to happen here going into turn number 3.
Oh, chase to the top. Peyton Holland's going to make it 3. He's got help from Matt Davies. 3 wide, almost 4 wide for the top position through 3 and 4. Off the final corner, Peyton Holland's got the momentum. And Peyton Holland is clear of all 3 lanes. Peyton Holland is going to take the first official points-paying checkered flag of the season. He will capture the Bass Pro Shops 325 at Daytona.
Man, massive crash through the tri-oval, but Peyton Holland, with help from Ryan White, gets the job done at Daytona. Unbelievable job. I mean, involved in so many incidents tonight. One of his own and some not, but wow, what a way to fight back to the front and win the race.
Peyton Holland started this race from the 27th position. What a way to work his way from mid-pack up to where it counted, when it counted. The push from Ryan White gets him first to the stripe, and some huge momentum for driver number 18 to kick off this 2026 B season.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to burn this thing down. He just got back from Canada on a vacation and just jumps in tonight. after arriving back early this morning and gets the job done. Unbelievable job by that A team.
We saw him, we alluded to it in the EOL shootout, experimenting. Well, it looks like whatever he was able to figure out in that non-points event, it helped him here tonight, as he'll be parking in victory lane in just a few moments. But right now, he's going to celebrate with the fans here at Daytona. A huge victory for Peyton Holland here tonight, who, if I'm not mistaken, when they took the grain for that final restart, I think he was back in the 9th position. So that was a lot of slicing and dicing he had to do to find himself where he did coming off turn 4 to receive the checkers.
Yeah, once Noah Jackson pushed Brock Whitehead way out there, I mean, one thing we didn't pay attention to was Peyton backed up to the 34 of Ryan White. And when Noah made that move going into turn number 3, Peyton had a huge momentum push from the 34 and was able to make it 3 wide and had his help all the way through out of turn number 4 and through the tri-oval.
Let's take a look at the final half of that last lap, exactly what you described. Top 2 clear out in front. Look at the gap and how it closes up here. Peyton Holland with all the momentum takes it up to the wall, 3 wide. Greg Wood gets into the back of Brock White, and I'm surprised they didn't wreck right there. And then as several drivers go around off of turn 4 and through the tri-oval, the push that White gave to Holland had him clear of all 3 lanes and able to be the first one back to the checkered flag with crashed cars and sparks in the rearview mirror. The Toyota's dominant here tonight at Daytona. Not only does Peyton Holland take the victory here tonight, he ended up getting the stage victory back in stage 2. Brock Whitehead the stage victory in stage 1. So Toyotas show their muscle here at the World Center of Racing. Ryan White's going to finish in 2nd place, and Chris Otto is going to just barely deny the Toyotas from sweeping the podium, as he's going to get that final spot, 3rd place here tonight at Daytona.
Yeah, an unbelievable race. I mean, we had everything from the strategy all the way in stage 1 to the exciting racing in stages 2 and 3 with some cautions mixed in, and definitely had our big ones and some big moments that could have been big ones. I mean, just an unbelievable treat here today.
Brock Whitehead, stage 1 winner, going to bring it home in 4th. Kirby Wainscott, who we saw early on in this race have to take a wave around, comes back for a 5th place performance. Greg Wood in 6th. How about CJ Papa? Was it about, 2 cautions ago? He got back on the lead lap, and he fought his way up to finish 7th place tonight. Our dual 1 winner, Christian Ruse in 8th, Dalton McKenney in 9th, and Noah Jackson, who started this race from the pole position, going to be the final driver in the top 10. Patrick McQuaid, they shared the front row together, did Jackson and McQuaid. 10th and 11th for them. Quinn Newton comes back for 12th. Wes Fuller in 13th with Kleinsma and Reese. Your top 15. Rest of the top 20. Travis Rodriguez, Charles Whitehead, Brandon Zimmerman, Matt Davies, and Thad Teasley. And then as you go down through the remainder of the finisher results, a bunch of these drivers caught up in that last lap wreck. A number of these drivers off the pace with damage from previous incidents, but it looks like we ended up officially having a total of 31 of our original 38 drivers that took the green flag finish this race under power.
Yeah, I mean, 4 of the top 7 had, 21 plus positions gained throughout the race. So, I mean, guys that didn't get a great starting position due to their duel or maybe missing their duel, got the job done today and got a lot of valuable points to start the season.
Well, that is going to take us into our FRN post-race wind down. What a way to kick off the season here. Cap off what's been an incredible 3 weeks of Speed Weeks. It's time to dial up the podium finishers here tonight at the Daytona International Speedway. Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that brought it home 3rd position tonight, driver number 88, Chris Otto. Hey, Chris, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Great run for you here tonight. Saw you out in front for a good portion of this race in the latter stages. I think even at one point you got shuffled in the middle 3 wide, but were still able to fight your way up to bring it home solidly on the podium. Lot of movement in the closing stages of this race. How difficult was it to manage to make sure that you were in the right line to keep yourself up there at the front?
Yeah, I mean it's really hard to know what line is really going to push as well as or compared to the other line. I thought on that last restart being in the top was going to be beneficial, but it fizzled out. It seemed like I'm not sure what happened behind me, but it just died and couldn't get nothing, and then had some people pull out coming down the back straightaway, and that's what helped. I hate that I left Dalton McKinney out, but I think if I would have tried to pick him up, I would have wrecked him, myself, or the 15 behind me just trying to check up and get him. I hate that I did that to him, but yeah, it's really hard, especially when you got 4 Whitehead cars controlling the field up there. They're going to work with each other until it's coming off a 4 like we saw here tonight. I didn't have really any teammate help up front at all until Kirby came from God knows where. He showed up on my back bumper, and I was so grateful that he did because he went with me and helped me get to the P3. So really appreciate him for that. And it's just really tough when you don't have the numbers in terms of team cars up front to control. And Whitehead cars had the numbers, so they were able to do it, and they almost got 1, 2, 3, but I was able to sneak through and get Brock there at the line.
Yeah, Otto, you talk about, not having the numbers. I mean, you're the only Chevrolet until all the way back to P8 that finished inside the top 3. So you talk about the numbers that, Toyota had, and they had it up front all night. I mean, just talk about the battle that you had to try to find friends and get around those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have many of them. I mentioned Dalton McKinney. I mean, we worked well together all night. And like I said, I feel bad that I had to leave him out, but I didn't want to wreck him or myself coming there to the white flag. I felt like that was the best decision I had. Christian, Rose, and myself, we worked well together. Kleinsma and myself, we worked well. It didn't work out in the end to where the numbers were favored for us. And the Whitehead cars are just so good on super speedways. I mean, they're so hard to beat. And at the end of it, I'm just glad that I can finally finish a super speedway race in this league, crossing the start finish line, go in the right direction at full song instead of getting wrecked. I've had such bad luck in this league with super speedways. I'm just happy to come across the line.
Saw a lot of strategy in this race as well with how the stages and the number of laps were divided up. We saw you be one of the drivers that looked like maybe you were going to try to stretch it on fuel at the conclusion of stage 1. We also saw you and a bunch of other drivers come to pit road not too far away from the conclusion of stage 2 to eventually hopefully shuffle your way up there to the front of the field. We saw here tonight it seemed like track position was huge because if you were stuck middle rear of the field, you were kind of gridlocked, couldn't make your way forward. So how difficult was it balancing the strategies, figuring out what was going to be the right one to make sure that you maintained the track position?
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I didn't have to do a whole lot of that. I had a good bug in my ear with Alan Dobbs. He was helping us out with strategy. I initially thought with what I was doing, saving in stage 1, that I could make it to the end, but it was just so close, and I really didn't want to run out of fuel coming back around to get to pit road. And ultimately, we just decided to pit as a team. Matt didn't quite get a good entry of pit road, didn't quite get a good exit, but I was lucky enough to pick up Hubka, I think it was Dalton who was behind me, and then one other car, and we were able to just run good enough lap times. And as the cycle cycled out, we came out the leader, and I did a poor job at managing the lines there coming to the finish of stage 1. But yeah, I don't really think I was outside the top 10 all day, and that was crucial. It didn't seem like any of the wrecks really started up front, but maybe one. It was just very vital for me to just stay up front, and I was very pleased with myself to be able to do so, manage the lines, manage the runs, get where I needed to be, so that way I could be in prime position when it mattered.
Well, you were indeed there when it mattered. Bring it home solidly in the top 5 on the podium here tonight in the season opener at Daytona. Put together a complete race here this evening, kept the car out of trouble, and able to be up there in the fight when the pay window officially opened and the checkered flag was waving. Congratulations on a great overall race, a solid finish to kick off the season. Before we let you go, Chris, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for up there in the booth putting on a great show. I can't wait to go back and watch this. I know you guys and Flatout Racing do a great job with broadcasts, so it's going to be fun to go back and watch. Just want to thank everybody in Redline Racing, Alan, DJ, CJ Papa, Kirby, Matt Metler, all these guys. They love super speedway racing and they just make me better. So a huge shout out to those guys. And then Brett Bullard over at Tier 1 Racing. Love the support that he's been able to give me. It's just been immense, and I can't thank all of them enough for all they do for me. And then all the people out here, fans coming in to watch, cheering me on. I appreciate all them. Just makes running these races and finishing well that much more rewarding.
Well, that's Chris Otto. Brings it home tonight. Third place, highest of the Chevrolet bow ties here at the Bass Pro Shops 325 at Daytona. Congratulations on the great start to the season, and best of luck going forward next week at Las Vegas.
Thank you, guys.
Let's see if we can now get a hold of the driver that brought it home second place tonight. That'll be the 34 of Ryan White. Hey, Ryan, it's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's up, guys?
I'll tell you what, we saw some great organization in that final green-white checkered amongst the Toyotas, but you restarted this race from the 9th position, able to fight your way up there to second place, may have had the decisive push that put Peyton Holland in victory lane. If you'd been able to get him and yourself clear, was there enough momentum to maybe make a crossover from turn 4 to the tri-oval, or was the goal just to keep locked to the bumper of the 18?
So it's always a tough choice coming down to the line when you're pushing some teammates, and I chose Peyton right there over Noah. It's a tough choice, but me and Peyton have been best friends for years now, so I went with him. And to be honest, I was probably staying locked on to the finish no matter what.
Saw a lot of drivers here tonight up and down the finishing order of the top 10 that had to overcome some type of adversity. I think at one point in this race, you actually took a wave around, had to pit, stayed on the lead lap with a caution saving you. At that point in time, Did you ever think we'd be talking to you with P2 tonight?
To be honest, that was a very lucky moment for me. I knew I had to take a wave around right there because there were so many cars a lap down. So I knew it would be super hard to get a free pass. So I took that wave around. I had like 2 laps of fuel, pit, tried to by a couple more laps, to stay on the lead lap, hope for caution. And it came out at the perfect time. So super fortunate for sure. But yeah, it just worked out great in the end for sure.
Yeah, Ryan, walk us through that last lap when you saw, Noah push Brock out to a massive lead, and you knew a move was going to come, and the 18 of Peyton, kind of backed up to you, and you were able to shove him clear of the top line, and he went 3 wide top. I mean, that decision, you talk about being a hard one, but yeah, well, I mean, just walk us through what was going through your head through that last half lap.
Yeah, so for sure, me and Peyton, we already kind of know, like, if I'm behind him, I'm going with him no matter what. That's just, who we are. We've been friends for, I guess, 15 years now for sure. But so we kind of we're locked in with each other. I'll push him, he pushes me. So, I mean, it sucks that I had to choose him over Noah, of course, because, Noah's a great teammate and Brock is too. But in the end, yeah, I just got to go with my best friend and a great teammate as well.
Well, a great way to kick off this brand new season for you, Ryan. Bringing it home solidly, second place here in what was an unpredictable race at the Daytona International Speedway. A good foothold to kick off this season as you guys now make your way over to the West Coast and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Before we let you go and continue to enjoy the solid outing here tonight, the World Center of Racing, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yes, sir. Big shout out to Superior Concrete Products. I believe that's Trey Whitehead's work. So for all your concrete needs, man, just contact them. Big shout out to Trey. Awesome paint scheme, like always. He does a great job. Whitehead Racing, we worked super well tonight. And then shout out, of course, to Peyton Holland. Great wins. Super happy for him. And looking forward to Las Vegas.
Well, that is Ryan White, second place here this evening at Daytona International Speedway. Great way to kick off the season for you. Best of luck. You look to continue this momentum next week at Las Vegas.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
And let's see if we can now go down to victory lane and dial up the first official points paying winner of this brand new season. Let's get a hold of Peyton Holland. Hey, Peyton's the guys up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I'm here.
Man, I'll tell you what a move you were able to pull off there. Down the back straightaway, take it all the way to the top, 3 wide through 3 and 4. Enough momentum to get every single line cleared off of turn 4 and turn for home to the checkered flag. Trey and I alluded to the fact that 3 weeks ago we saw you doing some experimenting, some testing out in different situations in the EOL shootout. How much of that did you recall upon here for this final overtime green-white checkered?
Um, Man, it feels like the last few super speedway races I've just been so conservative, and I just after that long first stage, I was just ready to go. And I know there's a couple. I mean, I think I got blamed for one of the wrecks, and so I was just a few of them I was close to. I don't know how I made it out of some of them wrecks, but I think the biggest thing I changed up compared to everything else was I was just aggressive. In the shootout, I could do what I want. There's no penalty, nothing if I wreck the car or nothing, no points on the line. So I just kind of raced my race, and I kind of wanted to do that this race because I'm tired of sitting in the back. But it ended up working out, and compared to the shootout, yeah, that's the way I could put it. I just felt more relaxed, felt like I could drive how I wanted to. Had a bunch of amazing teammates there to help me, so it was awesome.
I want to go back to last season because you were in the Final Four to compete for the championship, but you didn't go to victory lane till the next to last race of the season at Richmond, and that puts you into the Final Four. To start out the season here with a checkered flag, how does that now change the racing mentality going forward for the remainder of the 2026 B season?
Just ready to win more. I've started off with the first race. I'm 1 for 1. Might as well just go 2 for 2, 3 for 3, do as much as I can. I'm not gonna let it just slow me down, let it relax me. I'm still ready to win every race I can.
Yeah, Peyton, you talk about that long stage number one. I mean, how does that, the switch up of the format for the stages here at Super Speedways, how did that affect your strategy all race long? And yeah, we saw you get involved in a few incidents, only one of your own being, and you had a lot of damage at one point on that race car. Just how did your race go, and what did you think of the stage shakeup today?
I loved it. I love the stages. I'm glad they're back. I missed them all season last season. Felt like I had a lot of opportunities to get points throughout the race and then just not be able to finish. But no, stage one was awesome. We all had a good strategy. We just kind of went as long as we could. And luckily, me and Brock, we were the only ones out of the four or five of us that escaped everything. And we had an awesome little run at the end and got 1-2. So I loved it. I think it took up a lot of the race. It kind of made it kind of go by quicker. Everybody was kind of settled, which I really enjoyed. Just like everybody chilled out, no cautions or nothing. Stage two, I don't remember the stage two. I think I got second again, but no, that was an awesome finish. I just really love the super speedway racing. And I love having just such a good group of teammates to help me out. So it's just having such a good team at Whitehead Racing just makes the super speedways that much better.
Well, had to start mid-pack, 27th position, able to get up there and get some stage points in both Stage 1 and Stage 2, and ultimately bring it home with the big prize, the checkered flag here in the season opener at Daytona. Peyton, congratulations. We'll let you get back to your celebrating in victory lane in just a moment, but first, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Just want to thank anybody that's watching. I know I send these out to everybody. Just anybody watching. I just want to thank specifically. I love all my teammates, but man, Ryan, that was killer at the end. That was awesome. I couldn't have definitely done it without him at the end. But I just want to thank Noah and Brock and Davies and Charles, all them, just amazing teammates. Had a lot of fun with them out there. Of course, I just want to thank my sponsor, Twitch and Bus and Fart. Go check him out on Twitch if you can. He has some good gaming stuff, so just go check him out. But thank y'all boys up here. I can't wait to watch it back. I love FRN. I'm so thankful y'all are back. I'm super excited. Thank Hubka for running a phenomenal league. Chewy's race control has been phenomenal. I mean, absolutely killer. So I'm so glad to have him at race control. But I'm sorry anybody I missed, but I'll enjoy the racing. Thanks to all the boys that showed up today. But yeah, that's probably about it.
Well, Peyton Holland, The night belongs to him. He takes the checkered flag in the Bass Pro Shops 325 at Daytona. Congratulations on a great race overall. Enjoy this victory and best of luck as you go back to work. Maybe try and go for that second win in a row to kick off the season next week at Las Vegas.
Perfect.
Peyton Holland, your winner here tonight. And not only for Peyton Holland getting that victory early on in the season, as mentioned, his only victory last season was the next to last race, but maybe a little Daytona redemption as well. Rewind to one season ago, he missed out on the checkered flag by 12 one-thousandths of a second to another Whitehead teammate and Brock Whitehead, so he got that one position better one season later.
Yeah, I mean, there was contact there on that last lap, and fortunately he was able to get around both the 31 and the 20, who's you say a new addition back to Whitehead Racing, but took a year off to drive a Chevrolet for a little while. But yeah, I mean, incredible move there by the 18 and the 34 to go outside of, you know, the other two teammates on the bottom who were trying to just battle it out. Maybe they didn't even think about the other two. So yeah, incredible job by Peyton to get the redemption like you were talking about. And I mean, just the consistency of these, you know, Toyotas at the super speedway never fails. I mean, these guys drive a really good race and they just always find a way to be there at the end.
So now all the preparation, the speed weeks, the race tonight at Daytona, the unpredictability of super speedway racing is in the rearview mirror, and everyone now has a foothold. They have a starting line to kick off the season going into Las Vegas. A lot of big names did not get the finishes that they were looking for, finishing mid-pack to rear of the field. A lot of drivers that maybe thought they weren't going to necessarily be in the conversation, coming away with solid top 5 and top 10 runs. What kind of a stage does this set as we now head to a traditional speedway in Las Vegas next week?
Yeah, luckily with this being the first race of the year, these guys are, you know, just getting going. So somebody that scored a lot of points in general at this race might not be as good as the next tracks. I apologize. Yeah. So like you look at a guy like DJ Dano who's got speed everywhere. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the Daytona race he always has. But yeah, he's going to be looking to make that up pretty quickly here in the next few races, especially next week at Las Vegas. So yeah, I mean, you can look at this as a negative or you can look at it as a positive. Like, you know, you just started off the season with one bad race. You've still got 14 more to go before the chase starts. So a lot of time to get it back up. And DJ will definitely try to be one of those. And everybody else that was also involved in accidents that didn't get the race they wanted.
Well, it will certainly be interesting to see after the fallout of Daytona what we can expect as we go from the East Coast to the West Coast. Next Wednesday night, we'll be coming to you live from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for race number 2 of the 2026 B season of the Esports Oval League's Wide Open Wraps Cup Series. Peyton Holland will go in as the defending winner from tonight as he brings home the Bass Pro Shops 325 at Daytona. We thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evening with us, folks. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of the action here tonight at the World Center of Racing. For Trey Whitehead, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys next week at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as the season rolls on for the Wide Open Wraps Cup Series right here on FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.